And we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live in the show, and I thank y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on because there's a whole lot happening all over the internets, all over mainstream media, all over the fake news media, television, everywhere. There's a whole lot happening. Illegal aliens getting reparations, $500,000 each. Lawyers talking about they want to seek $3.4 million per family. We'll talk about that in depth a little bit later. Also, did you guys hear Barack Obama's tone-deaf speech in Virginia to support the Democratic gubernatorial candidate, Terry McAuliffe, who is not from Virginia, by the way. He's from Syracuse, New York. Ain't nothing but a DC swamp rat that came across the river to try and be a VA politician. We'll talk about that later as well. Also, shout out to Ice Cube, very well-known rapper, actor, media mogul, who said, you know what? I don't want to do this movie if they're going to make me get the vax. How much money am I going to make? $9 million for taking the vax? Nope. Keep $9 million. I refuse to get the vax. Shout out to, we'll talk about him in a little bit. Also, the Lincoln Project. I'm surprised these guys, I could say a different word, but I'm surprised they're still around. We'll talk about all those things and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all for joining. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet, so thank y'all again for being here. If you enjoyed what you have heard thus far in the first few seconds, I suppose, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you enjoy the content in general on the channel, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If for some reason you are not subscribed, whether you got unsubscribed against your will, unintentionally, or you're just not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's 100% free. If you're listening to this on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc., please give the podcast a 5-star rating, a review, a like, a share, a mention, an email, a recommendation, whatever you can do. I most certainly appreciate it. Now, we got a whole lot going on, of course, always. And we got to get to the sponsors first. Then we're going to get straight into the topics. Now, shout out to the best news site anywhere on the internets, patriotpost.us. You guys got to go check them out. New content every day, good content, real content from a true conservative perspective. The local guys right out here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I met them, talked to them. They're excellent people. A lot of good resources for you guys to, you know, if you're interested in liberty, things of that nature, you're interested in how this country really works, go to patriotpost.us. They are a great source of all your news and information. Check them out right now. Link will be in the description box. Also, shout out to bhedesigns.com. You see the beautiful handmade wooden flags that are behind me. Every single day I get emails. Hey, ABL, where do you get your flags? I want a flag like that. I want a flag from my granddad, for my grandmama, for myself. You could get one of those flags just like those, or one of your very own, and large, medium, small, on the website, bhedesigns.com. If you go to my website, quick segue, if you go to my website, anthonyblogan.com, you can find those flags there as well in the menu section. It'll say something about wooden flags. Just click on that. It'll take you right to it. And of course, the links for everything will always be in the description box below the video. If you're listening to the podcast, it'll be in the description box. So check it out right there. But go to anthonyblogan.com. For every video I do, I write a full article. So if you don't know where I'm getting my sources, if you want to see where I'm getting all my information, everything will be sourced in the articles that I write. You can also find my contact information, my email address, snail mail, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all on my website, anthonyblogan.com. And the best thing about my website is I could put whatever I want on there, as long as it's not illegal, as long as I ain't breaking no federal law, no state law, nothing like that. I could put whatever I want on there, and they can't do nothing about it. Ain't gonna be no censoring, ain't gonna be no copyright strike, none of that on my website, because it's my website. Okay. Now, if I do something illegal, I'm going to the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks, but I don't break laws. I don't break laws. All I do is post things that the powers that be may not like. So again, shout out to my website, anthonyblogan.com. And if you want some merch, some hot t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, hats, and more, go to ablmerch.com. That's my website. I designed everything. I got a warehouse out there in different parts of the world. So that's a good place to go, ablmerch.com. More merch coming soon. I got to find some time in the day. And again, I create all the merch myself. I'm the guy that designs it. So check it out, ablmerch.com. Now let's get straight into the topics. We got a whole lot going on. And where do I begin? Where do I begin? You know what? That's a good point. Somebody said you break the federal law, the government will pay you. Yeah, exactly. That's how I started my other video. I guess crime doesn't pay, but I can't tell. I'll get to that. I promise. Y'all hold my feet to the fire on getting to that one. But I'm going to save it for a little bit so everybody gets time to get nice and settled, get something nice and cold to drink and good to eat to get ready for that. I think I'm going to start with the Lincoln Project. I'm going to start straight away right there because that whole situation was crazy. Straight away, I knew that this was bogus. Did you guys see that video or the short that I did? I'm glad you guys who watched the short enjoyed it. I'm going to do a lot more of those where it's just me kind of reacting to a thing within like a minute or two. Well, a minute for a short. So I'll do more of those. Absolutely. But did you guys see the whole situation? Look, anybody with a brain cell could have seen that that was fake from the very beginning. Let me just, back up to explain what's going on. Now, you guys know I'm from Virginia, so I know all about this kind of stuff. What they were trying to do with the hoax that they didn't say was a hoax at first. Okay, they put these morons out there trying to make them look like the Unite the Right guys. Remember the whole thing in Charlottesville where Heather Heyer died and they said, oh, you said good people on both sides. Remember that? Well, one thing about it was that the guys that they painted as the villains, I suppose, they look like the guys that are on the screen. This is not them, obviously. These are a bunch of just random people. Vice News identified at least one of them as a Democratic operative. I think it might have been a young lady that's right there. But they, meaning the Lincoln Project, placed these guys in front of Glenn Youngkin's bus in Charlottesville. Now, Charlottesville is where the Unite the Right rally happened back in 2017. A long time. Time flies. Already been 4 years since that happened. And Heather Heyer died, and you had these guys talking about they will not replace us, X, Y, and Z. They had tiki torches, and then the tiki torch, this scary instrument, this scary object you could find in any Home Depot, Target, Lowe's, or whatever, that became a symbol of white supremacy, just like this. So the OK sign and the tiki torch became the symbol of white supremacy. Okay, no more burning crosses and nooses and whatnot, because you're not going to find those anymore unless you got somebody that made a cross to be some kind of hate hoax, or Juicy Smollett having some Ace Hardware rope talking about, oh, they put a noose on my neck. But anyway, you're not going to see nooses or burning crosses anymore, or anybody in the Klan outfit running around hollering, screaming, carrying on. So the tiki torch has now become the symbol of white supremacy. So they put these guys out there in front of the Glenn Youngkin bus to represent that as a demonstration. But Lincoln Project didn't say that it was them that did it at first. They retweeted a status, as a matter of fact, that said, this is disgusting. How are they going to have these guys out here doing X, Y, and Z? That's what they said. They didn't actually reveal that it was a stunt until after we, meaning the internet, said it was a stunt. It's so obvious, though. I mean, how much more ridiculous could you get? Because first of all, it's raining. It's pouring rain. You can see the rain in the picture. There's no sun. It's daytime, but there's no sun. You understand? The sun is just hiding behind the rain clouds, basically. But yet they have no umbrellas, no coat, jacket, hoodie, poncho, nothing. They're soaking wet. Their shirts, pants, all of that are wet. The funniest part is this guy right here on the far on the tail end, I guess that's my right. You can see the little imprint right there where his phone was. That's hilarious because, he's just out there in the rain getting wet. Hopefully he has some kind of protector on his phone that prevents it from getting damaged in the water. But anyway, so the tiki torches can't light because it's raining. The sunglasses have no effect because there's no sun. They're wet. There's no umbrella. Why would somebody just stand in the rain? Why? It's because they probably getting paid to do that. And then, the biggest telltale sign that this was fake, aside from the fact that they're out there in the rain and all that good stuff, it's diverse. So if you're going to do some kind of fake white supremacist demonstration, at least make it look somewhat believable, right? These guys out here, you got 3 white guys. One guy is about 40-something years old, okay? Their hats look like they're brand new. Shoes look brand new. Everything looks brand new. But you got a woman out there dressed the same as the men for some reason. And then you got a black guy hunched over. He's about 85 years old, looking like Herbert from Family Guy. Herbert the pervert from Family Guy. That's how he looks right there, hunched completely over. I'm not convinced that these guys are white supremacists. The black guys out there, how is he a white supremacist? I really don't understand. White males are violent. Yeah, you got a young lady out there, like she about 22 years old. Like, this whole thing is totally wrong. They're talking about we made a statement because Donald Trump does not want to denounce the white supremacists. He said good people on both sides. I mean, they're still pumping that whole good people on both sides nonsense. Everybody knows the good people on both sides thing was a lie. Okay. I've said this so many times over years. I've been denouncing, I've been debunking the good people on both sides thing for years now. Years. It happened in 2017. I've been debunking it since 2017. I got family members that still right now, today, 2021, still think that Trump was talking about the so-called Nazis as good people, when in that very same talk, the good people on both sides, in that very same thing, he said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis, the white supremacists, the KKK. I denounced them totally. He did not say that after the good people on both sides speech, like a day later. He said that during the actual talk. He said it right there. But the media, of course, cut that part out. And then all they want you to know is he said good people on both sides. He was talking about the point of the rally to begin with. The whole Unite the Right thing was other people coming to Charlottesville for their own purposes, for their own reason, okay? But the original point of the rally was for the statue of Robert E. Lee that was close to the campus of UVA. And the argument was, do we keep the statue or do we remove it? Now, you had regular normie, everyday Joes that came to that particular rally that were for and against. And you had good people on both sides of that argument. Some people that said, let's leave it here. It's been here for a long time. Some that said, let's take it away. It's offenses or whatever. But they're regular normies. We ain't talking about the hate groups, the Black Lives Matter, Antifa, neo-Nazi. We ain't talking about them. But of course, the media changed it. They ran with a narrative. People still, right now to this day, your aunt on Facebook who has a Never Trump profile picture that's been up since 2016, she thinks that the good people on both sides thing is what the media said. And the Lincoln Project play on that. Now, the Lincoln Project, they purport themselves to be anti-Trump Republicans. First of all, Trump's not in office anymore. So what's your shtick now? They claim to be anti-Trump Republicans, but yet they're out there supporting Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, and they're attacking Glenn Youngkin. Now, I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump fan, but I know that Trump is controversial. I know that, and it's fine. He needs to be controversial because he had to be the kind of guy that came in and made some kind of change. Because before Trump, things are kind of going as normal. You needed Trump for that chaos. You had to have him. So I'm going to sit here and say that Trump is controversial in a good kind of way. He's the chaos for good. What they call it, the good chaotic. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, he is chaotic for a good purpose. But Glenn Youngkin is like a Boy Scout compared to Trump. He's not at all controversial. They try to call him an anti-Semite. Glenn Youngkin is nowhere near that. Glenn Youngkin is just like pocket protector type guy. So what are we talking about when you try to link Youngkin to controversy? It's because the Lincoln Project ain't nothing but a bunch of Democrats. Some perverts too. Remember the guy that got locked up? Not locked up, pardon me. He resigned from the Lincoln Project. John Weaver. He got caught harassing like 20 men. And it might have been an underage boy he was harassing online. I mean, what in the world? So I figure after that whole thing popped, when you are, and then the Lincoln Project were trying to cover it up and trying to defend him and all this and that. But then when they couldn't cover it up anymore, when they couldn't defend him anymore, then it was like, oh, no, we just avow he's going to resign, all this, that, and the third. And there's probably more guys in Lincoln Project that were involved in some weird stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if you look in their faces, look at Kellyanne Conway's husband. He's part of Lincoln Project. If you see Kellyanne Conway's husband's face, I mean, you might think that he's kind of weird. He probably was harassing the boys right alongside John Weaver, allegedly, in my humble opinion. I'm not saying he did it because they like to sue. But anyway, I thought the Lincoln Project were done after that. But of course, Democrats don't care. They don't care what you do. You could be Jeffrey Epstein. You can be locked up. You can actually go to the penitentiary for abusing kids, and the Democrats will still take your money. Okay? Because when Terry McAuliffe, the guy who's running for governor right now in Virginia, when Terry McAuliffe was the bad man for Hillary Clinton back in 2008, he was still getting those Epstein checks after he got locked up for abusing children. We won't talk about that part. We'll just leave that part away from the conversation. Okay. Bill Gates was still breaking bread with Epstein after he got locked up for abusing children. So they don't really care. Ain't no morality involved. They're all about just trying to get that bag and trying to keep control. That's all it's about. So yeah, Lincoln Project, Democratic Party, all these people, they're gross. They're really gross, and it shows. And they wouldn't have admitted to the hoax out there in Charlottesville unless we just pointed out the obvious. I mean, anybody with a handful of brain cells could have seen that the whole thing was fake. But I'm glad that we exposed them, and we're going to keep on exposing them. Now, here's a hot take straight off the grill. I'm talking about piping hot. January 6th is probably the same situation going on with some hoaxes. What probably happened was you had some agent provocateurs, guys that went in there to rile everybody up and create a sense of chaos to have others fall in. Okay, people out there excited, and you got guys that want to fight for the president, all this and that. It takes a handful of guys to say, hey, you know what? We're fighting for the president out here marching or whatever. Let's go into the Capitol. Let's go in and X, Y, and Z. So this is why you had a bunch of guys that were doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And that's why other guys were just in there walking around through the ropes, because most people out there were not trying to get into any kind of violence. They were just hanging out, chilling, having a good time. And then you had some that got driven to follow the crowd that kind of became chaotic. But I think we all know that. But unfortunately, a lot of people, your aunt on Facebook who has a Never Trump profile picture does not understand that. And the Lincoln Project, they know that. And they want to capitalize on that ignorance. So here we are right now today. Now, this is desperation, big time, because they know Democrats in Virginia and also in the federal government, they know that if Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, loses Virginia coming up this Tuesday, it's going to be a problem. Because if we can take back Virginia as a red state, oh my goodness. Virginia, you know, because again, I'm from Virginia. As a kid, I saw it. I saw it go from a solidly red state progressively to a more blue state because of Northern Virginia. And where's all the critical race theory stuff happening? Where's all the school board stuff happening? Where did that 12-year-old girl get assaulted in the bathroom by a so-called trans boy? Where did that happen? Northern Virginia, Loudoun County, Fairfax, Alexandria, all this and that. That's where it happened. So if you're able to turn one of the bluest counties in the country red, or at least more red than it had been, red enough to make the whole state go red, that's going to be a very big indicator of what happens in 2022. Follow the same game plan. A lot of your regular, average, everyday normies don't understand politics. They don't know what the ramifications of politics are. If you vote the wrong way, they don't understand what's going to happen. So a lot of them are just kind of one issue voter. You know, that's really what they're on. So if you can make the claim that voting for the Democratic Party is going to harm their children, it's going to harm their lives, and they can see what's happening right now with the country, inflation going through the roof, gas, all this, everything is costing higher. You have less security. Embarrassing. We're kind of embarrassed on the international stage when they see all that going on, and they see things happening in their personal life, vax mandates, things of that nature. When they see the government getting way too big and way too out of control, they may say, you know what? Okay, let's go the other direction. Let's try the Republicans. Let's try to go away from the Democratic Party. Democrats understand it's happening, and they're going to try to do things like this, try to send out these little fake hate hoaxes talking about Tiki Torch guys are back. Don't forget. And did you guys see that there was an ISIS threat, or is an ISIS threat in Northern Virginia? How convenient, right? All the critical race theory stuff is happening right there in Northern Virginia. The governor race that's coming up Tuesday could be decided in Northern Virginia. All of a sudden, randomly, here comes an ISIS terror attack in Northern Virginia specifically. Why just there in Northern VA? Why not just the DC, Maryland, Virginia area? Why specifically Northern Virginia? Is it because there's a race coming up that's very important and it's going to be decided right there in Northern Virginia? Is it because of that? Is it to scare people away from even leaving their homes on election day? Or is it like they're trying to have people associate ISIS and whatnot with Trump some kind of way? I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but they're getting desperate. They're talking about terror attacks. They bring out Tiki Torch guys. They're doing whatever they can to make sure that Glenn Youngkin loses, the Republican, and they want Terry McAuliffe to win. I don't really see, I think Terry McAuliffe is in trouble. One thing about Terry McAuliffe is that he's not from Virginia, and that's kind of important. Ralph Northam, although he's terrible, blackface guy, he's from Virginia, Eastern Shore, matter of fact. So he's kind of from a rural area. You can hear it in his voice. You know, that Tangier Island type stuff, you know, real old school English, you can hear it. Terry McAuliffe, he's from Syracuse, New York. He's a New Yorker who came to Virginia to be basically in D.C., to be a D.C. swamp rat. That's what he was. Worked on the 2008 Hillary Clinton campaign, and then just came across the Potomac River to be a Virginia politician. But Youngkin is from Virginia, born in Richmond, went to school in Norfolk Academy. He's a Virginia guy through and through. So he has a better chance of being able to win over McAuliffe. And of course, he's not on this crazy critical race theory stuff. And I think the one thing that got Terry McAuliffe in trouble is the comments he made about the school board. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find that, because those comments really kind of spell doom, in my humble opinion, for Terry McAuliffe. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that right quick. On the Twitters, it's pretty reliable here. But let's see if I can find it. Hold on. I'm going to find that in a minute. But thank y'all again for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. If you enjoy what you're hearing so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That works out a lot for me. Wow, I see Pharrell went to a McAuliffe rally. Come on, P. Willie, that's not the wave. Why would you go to a McAuliffe rally? But, you know, a lot of people just don't understand. They're just going to vote Democrat no matter what. They don't really get it. They don't really understand what's happening. They just vote with the guy I think is the most popular or the best in their mind, but they don't really understand politics like that. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Here's a quote from Terry McAuliffe. I think it was during a debate between him and Glenn Youngkin. And the quote here, I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to just play it. The quote says, "I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. Is that right? So we should not have any kind of parent teacher conferences, no PTA meetings and nothing like that. You should just let them do whatever they want to do. So if they put out books that are totally inappropriate, featuring male on male nudity and stuff like that, that's fine. Don't say anything about it. We got it. You don't know anything about your own kids? Okay. Let's play the comment so you guys know I'm not making it up.
Veto books, Glenn, not to be knowledgeable about it, also take them off the shelves. And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decision.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. But,
Oh, really? Let's run it back. You might not have heard it. You might have missed it. You're getting something to drink, getting something to eat, taking a bite of the sandwich. You may have misheard it. Let's run it back to hear what he said specifically.
Veto books, Glenn, not to be knowledgeable about it, also take them off the shelves. And I'm not going to let parents come into schools and actually take books out and make their own decision.
So you can't take books out, make your own decision. And the parents don't know anything. If you are administrator, you're a teacher, whatever, you know best for the kids. The parents don't know what's best for their own children. Got it.
You vetoed it.
So, yeah, I stopped the bill that I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. But,
Well, there you have it. So that quote right there may have cost him the race, because critical race theory, stuff like that, that's really big in Northern Virginia. And that's where all the action happens. That's where everything is decided. It could be yay or nay from Alexandria, basically, Fairfax County, really. So that might have been the wrap for his campaign right there. All right. And he said it right there on camera, so nobody can say that he didn't say it. People want to try to, one thing that I like to do is just to keep evidence. Someone says, hey, ABL, that didn't happen. He didn't say that. She didn't say that. Well, here it is. Then what you going to say now? And you get crickets. you get straight crickets because they can't say anything. Not at all. All right. So that's that. But yeah, if you're in Virginia and you've not voted yet, please vote for Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, coming up this Tuesday, November the 2nd. Tuesday, November the 2nd, vote Glenn Youngkin. And no, I've not been contacted by his campaign at all, or from the RNC, or from anyone. This is just me trying to help Virginia. I'm from there. I still love Virginia. I had to leave, but I want Virginia to go back to the way it used to be. I don't want all this crazy critical race theory stuff to poison the great state of Virginia, because it really is a beautiful place, but all this ridiculous political nonsense is causing problems, serious problems. Okay, crime out of control in some parts of the state because people don't want to step up and do the right thing. They don't want to have proper security. They want to be all friendly and whatnot to the criminals. We can't be doing that. Okay, we got to do what's right in Virginia to make it go back to the proper direction. Like I was saying before, I'm in Tennessee now, and there was a story that came out a few years ago about how Bristol, Virginia went bankrupt, but right across the border, it's the same town basically. The Tennessee part of Bristol did not go bankrupt. As a matter of fact, I was in Bristol earlier this year, and it was beautiful. The Tennessee part, at least. I don't know about the Virginia part. I didn't go there, but the Tennessee part is a nice little shopping center and restaurants and stores. It was cool. Now, the Virginia part, I don't really know, but Tennessee, they got the proper laws in place to make sure that a town can be functional. Because one thing about, society, economics, and whatnot, a lot of that is on the people that live in a particular place, of course, and how they behave and how they act and their productivity level. But it's also about the laws in the place. If you have bad laws, crazy taxes, things of that nature, it's hard for people to be able to operate. Prime example, they're trying to raise minimum wage real high in Virginia, $15 or whatever. That might play in Annandale, Virginia, Northern Virginia in general, that area where there's more money. But if you go way out, far Western Virginia, Roanoke, past Roanoke, Big Stone, Gap, all that, you're not going to be able to pay that kind of money. The money is just not there. What industry is out there? Nothing really, unfortunately. What's the industry in Northern Virginia? It's tech out there, but it's really the federal government. It's all that federal money floating around, all these consultants and staffers and contractors and politicians and aides and whatnot. That's what's happening in Northern Virginia, government money. Not so much way out far west or even far south. But I'll move on. Yeah, shout out Big Stone Gap, Kevin. Yeah. All right. Let's get to the next one here. Let's get to the next topic. And let's talk about Ice Cube right quick. Let's talk about Ice Cube. Matter of fact, hold on. Pause for a minute on Ice Cube. Let's talk about Obama to keep the continuation as far as, you know, the Terry McAuliffe in Virginia. Let's talk about Barack Obama. Now, Barack Obama gave this real tone-deaf speech talking about parents. What did he say? Matter of fact, let me try to find that right quick. I'm going to find that one too because I need to really show that one so I can tell it that way. I'm not sure if it was a speech more than it was just kind of a quick talk. Oh, okay. Here's one of them I want to put up talking about voting. And then he was talking about something else. I'm going to find that right quick. But Obama has the same issue as Terry McAuliffe. Obama is truthfully not even really all the way American as far as his upbringing. He grew up in Indonesia with his mother and his stepfather, Lolo Sotoro. And then he went to Hawaii with his grandparents when he got to be like late teenager, I guess. So that's not really having necessarily the American experience. I understand Hawaii's an American place, it's a state, but that's not like living in, for example, Chicago, Baltimore, LA, Middle America, Florida, somewhere like that. Is much different. You know, you staying with your grandparents, probably on a resort type place. That's not the typical American upbringing. So compare that to me, who's from Virginia, grew up in Virginia, and then compare me to a guy like Terry McAuliffe, who's from Syracuse, New York, and moved to VA as an adult. Is way different. Barack Obama came to the States really as an adult. He went to Chicago. So, I mean, they don't really understand what's happening in the country. They don't really understand people. All they do is they know how to read from a teleprompter. They know how to kind of carry themselves from what they've been trained in school and from their aides and whatnot, but they don't understand the reality of everyday Americans. Okay, so here's the one I want to show you guys about his Barack Obama's his stumping speech or stumping talk out there for Terry McAuliffe. And he mentioned stuff like critical race theory and whatnot, the school board stuff. He mentioned that kind of briefly and vaguely, but even though it's not a whole lot of words right here, there was a whole lot said. Let's put it on the screen. Okay, let's get some sound. That'd be good.
To be wasting on these phony, trumped up culture wars.
Hold on.
We don't have time to be wasting on these phony, trumped up culture wars. This fake outrage that right-wing media peddles to juice their ratings. We don't have time.
So it's phony culture wars. It's just right-wing stuff to juice TV ratings. That's what it is, right? So when a father is in Loudoun County talking about, hey, my daughter was assaulted in the bathroom by a boy because of the policy that says that you can have boys in the girls' bathroom if they identify as transgender, is that a phony culture war? Is that fake outrage? Is that just to get Fox News ratings up? Or is that a real complaint? I mean, what do you say to that father, though, Barack Obama? What would Terry McAuliffe say as a governor, if he became the governor? What would he say to that father? That's his constituent. He has a real concern. It's like, hey, my daughter is not safe in public schools. That's your wheelhouse, Mr. McAuliffe, if you become the governor. So what are you going to tell me? Suck it up, shut up, don't say nothing. You trying to get Fox News sympathy votes and cool points? Is that what you're going to say? Or are you going to try to fix it? Like, let's not just trivialize very serious and important matters. Let's not trivialize critical race theory when you're talking about kids who are being told at a very young age that they are inferior because they are non-white. And if they're white, they're being told that they are white supremacists, they're racist, they're hateful, and everything else. You're damaging all the kids. All the kids are being damaged in a variety of different ways, physically, emotionally, all of that. And they're going to carry these lifelong scars with them. So when you say something like that, Barack Obama, that's very tone deaf. You're not reading the room at all. People are really concerned about that. See, it's not just like these Republican operatives and Fox News. You're talking about regular normies who are not politically aware, don't know what's going on. All they want is for their kids to be safe. This is why Terry McAuliffe is losing. He's down by like 8 points in the poll, last one I saw. When you go out there and say stuff like that, you're not connecting with the people and what they want. They want you to say that you're gonna fix critical race theory, you're gonna make schools safe. But you say the opposite, it's like, what are we talking about here? You're not doing what we need you to do. So why vote for you? I go toward the other guy who's saying what we want him to say. He's saying the correct thing and you're not. So here's the next thing about voting. And again, me being the VA guy, what Obama is saying here is false. So check it out. Next clip.
All across the country, Democrats are trying to make it easier to vote, not make it harder to vote, and push back on Republicans who are trying to systematically prevent ordinary citizens from making their voices heard. Just this past week, some of you probably saw, every Democrat in the Senate supported a bill that would protect the right to vote and ban partisan gerrymandering and reduce the influence of dark money in our politics. Every Democrat voted for it. Every Republican voted against it. Which, by the way, there's a little bit of an aside, but you have to ask yourself, why is it Republicans don't want you to vote?
Now, is that true? That if you're on the right, you don't want anybody to vote? How does it make any sense? We want to get elected too. We want to get elected too. We want everybody to vote. We want the process to be safe, and we don't want to have fraud and stuff like that. You want the process to instill confidence in the voter rather than doubt. We don't want voters to think that their vote doesn't count. We don't want votes to be stolen. We don't want, no funny business happening. So, people like Barack Obama and a lot of Democrats in the Democratic Party, what they want is for like no IDs be required. You could just do whatever you want and it's fine. But we know that that's going to just cause fraud. It's been proven. We've seen it. We've seen ballots be stuffed in people's cars. People harvesting ballots, throwing away ballots. It's a mess. We want to have better voting. Now, in Virginia, I never had an issue voting, ever. You stand in line, show your ID, and vote. It's very simple, okay? If you want to do anything, for the most part in life, you got to have an ID. If you want to be able to buy medication, like you go to a doctor, you get a prescription, you want to fill it, okay, let's get some ID. You want to go smoke a cigarette? Okay, where's your ID? Drink a beer? Where's your ID? You want to get welfare benefits? Well, I'm going to need your ID, birth certificate, proof of address. I'm going to need all of that. I'm going to need a bunch of stuff for you to be able to get a particular thing. You want to go on the plane? I'm going to need your ID, man. You need your ID to even do Facebook ads if they're political. You got to scan your ID and send it to them. So when you're talking about they're trying to prevent voting, meaning the Republicans, what do you mean, really? I've never seen anyone on the right that wants to prevent voting. We want to have voting be secure and be safe for everyone, not just Republicans, but Democrats too. We don't want your vote stolen, nor do we want ours stolen. We want everything to be fair for everybody. You can't have a law that only applies to one political party. How could you really do that without being obviously discriminatory? Now, somebody's going to say, well, ABL, a lot of black folks don't have ID. That's nonsense. We got plenty of ID. It's guys in the penitentiary. I know guys that's homeless that got IDs. Well, I've seen guys on the street that have ID that are homeless. Nowhere to live, but got an ID. I mean, you can get IDs for free, for a very low cost, all that good stuff. If you don't have ID, you probably don't want one. So to say that, and then let's pause right there. I almost forgot that the obvious comparison here. They say it's racist to require ID to vote, but then when you're talking about going to a gym or going to a restaurant to pick up some fried chicken wings to get on in the Uber or something like that to go work a job, you got to show the Vax card. because they got vax mandates, things of that nature. Oh, that's not racist. Although the number one race in America that's unvaxxed are black folks. Oh, but that's not racist, right? That's not racist. When you get fired from your job for not having the vax, that's not racist. But to require ID to vote, that's racist. It doesn't make any sense. Everybody knows at this point it's all about that they change the narrative when it benefits them. They'll in the same breath they'll say, yes, it's racist to require ID to vote, but no, it's not racist or anything else to require a vax card to work. To work. Like, I want to work. I want to get a job. I don't want welfare benefits. I don't want EBT, WIC, TANF, Section 8. I don't want no handouts. I want to go to my job and work. Matter of fact, I want to do a dangerous job. I want to be a police officer making like $35,000. I'm not trying to be rich. I want to work. I want to serve my community. I want to risk my life every single day, but I can't do that because I'm required to get the vax and I don't want to get it. But that's fine, right? That's not racist at all, right? Oh, okay. 100%. And shout out to Ice Cube for not taking the movie role and $9 million because of the vax mandate. Shout out to him. Just like Kyrie Irving, okay? He says, I don't want to get the vax. Are you going to take $17 million away from me? That's fine. That's, I got money. $17 million is a lot of money. Don't get it twisted, but I'll survive. No problem. So what you're going to do? I'll call your bluff. Now what? And New York City, what are they going to do when, as of right now, like 70% of the police force is vaxxed, 70% of fire or a little bit less is vaxxed, 70% of sanitation workers are vaxxed or less. What are they going to do when that other 1/3 does not get the vax? How are they going to be able to continue on? And before I get into that, my question would be, what does being fully vaxxed mean anymore? What does that really mean? They're talking about booster number 4 already. The 4th booster is already being discussed. So if you have the 1-shot Johnson & Johnson or the 2-shot Moderna, Pfizer, whatever it is, are you fully vaxxed if you've not had the 3rd and 4th booster? What does being fully vaxxed mean? When there's a vax mandate, are they requiring you to get every shot that comes out? If they say the booster is because the efficacy of the vax stops after about 8 months, 6 months, 2 months, whatever it is, and it's been a year since you had your last vax, are you still vaxxed? Even with the flu shot, they say get it every year. So if there was a flu shot mandate, you would get it every year, right? That's what I would think. You wouldn't get it one time and then not anymore, because obviously after a year, it's not going to work anymore. So is it going to be a perpetual thing? And then my question is it always going to be a brand new shot? It has to be. You got variants and different things happening in the environment. It's got to be a new shot every year. So you're taking a brand new shot, untested every single year to keep your job. I mean, they're not saying that right now, but they also didn't say when people got their jobs to begin with that you'd be required to get this shot. But here we are. At first, when the bug first came around, hey, put your mask on, it'll be all right. No, stop the spread, flatten the curve, all this, that, and the third, right? That was the thing. That was the whole point back then, back in March 2020. Then when the vax came out, oh, go get it, it'll be good. Then it became, oh, it's mandatory, you got to get it right now. Mandatory, get that vax. But at what point are you still fully vaxxed? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to understand. But anyway, shout out to all the guys out there in New York City who say, you know what? I'm not going to do this. We're not going to take this. We're going to protest. So if you want your trash picked up and you don't want them big New York-sized rats, them cat rats to be in your bags, stealing your pizzas and whatnot that you done discarded, if you don't want the Turtles, what was that? A Splinter from the Turtles. If you don't want that guy coming out your trash with a karate belt on and a headband, you need to come to the table and negotiate. We're not going to get the vax. 1/3 of us are saying we're ready to walk. So what are we going to do? You have to come to the table and negotiate. That's why these protests at a certain point work. And I feel for everybody that's, losing income. Things are kind of rough. I get it. I know not everybody's like Ice Cube where they're able to just kind of fall back and lose $9 million. Everybody's not like that. Some guys are just trying to make a living, trying to, feed themselves, their kids, their wife, or whatever. I understand 100%. So you walking away from your job for a little while even is a hard thing. But at a certain point, I think everybody's like, we're fed up, we had enough. You having all kind of anti-vax mandate protests all over the country, all over the world, really, everywhere. Europe, parts of America, of course, from left coast, east coast, down south, Midwest, everywhere. There's all kind of protests happening, and for good reason. In New York City, hey man, they got to fix that because they have their trash just on the ground with no bin or nothing like that, just out there. So it's easier for them them giant jetpack rats to tear into your trash and just have a field day. And then when they do that, it's going to attract more rodents. That was a problem in Baltimore when they had all them rats out there, is because of all the trash that was just on the ground that'll just attract all the rodents. So if you're living in a place that's right where a bunch of trash is located, the rodents are going to be right there in the trash, and then they're going to go into your building, into your house, wherever you live. Is going to be a problem. 100%. Oh yeah, I know that. What they say, Ireland, a really high vax rate, but still got a very high virus rate. Same thing with Israel. We see what's going on with Israel and all over the place. Even in UK, I saw what they said 70% of the cases in Sweden and UK, I think, were people that have been fully vaxxed. And my question is, does your vax still work? People still to this day think that the vax protects you from getting infected. It does not at all. Like I'll say that, like I'll show somebody the clip. And again, shout out to my main man, Yuri Bezmenov. Yuri Bezmenov said that you can show somebody evidence. You can drag them to the gulags yourself and show them the big rocks broken into little rocks. You could show them the actual problems. You could put out a videotape and say, here, look at this. Bring them there in person. Look at this. See what's going on. They won't believe it. So when I play that video where Rochelle Walensky says that the vax does not prevent transmission, they say, oh, it still kind of prevents it a little bit because if you don't get it, then you can't spread it. No, you're not understanding. You're not understanding. It does not prevent transmission. So you can still catch it and spread it the same as a non-vaxxed person. I say that every single day. People still don't believe it. I show them the videotape. Oh, she don't know anything. That is CDC director. If she's not aware of what's happening, then who is aware? Your aunt on Facebook with never Trump profile picture that says what it is? Or the so-called scientists? Is it trust science or no? Or is it only trust science when I want to believe it? Is it trust science when CNN says that the science is correct, but not what you're seeing with your own two eyes? You see what I'm saying? CNN could say that the sky is green, and I say, you know what? The sky is blue. I take you outside and show you the sky. You see the color is blue, but you say, nah, it's green because CNN said it. At that point, you're brainwashed. You're sleeping still. So shout out to everybody that's awake and understands what's going on out here in the world. But I'll go ahead and digress. Let's get into, I think, the main topic here. Let me go back to where I'm at. Oh, illegal aliens get reparations. Oh, my goodness. Now, look, check it out. When I saw this, I was like, this can't be real. Illegal aliens getting paid money for what? And the money is so much money. I don't even understand. I think it's because lawyers are talking about they want $3.4 million for each family negatively affected. Let me back up. So in 2018, under Trump's zero tolerance policy, which worked because there was no border crisis and that type of stuff was going on. Everything was all good. You had fewer border apprehensions, fewer border crossings because people knew that if you went to the border, it was going to be hard to get in. You couldn't just waltz your way in like you're doing now. The border was truly closed. They say right now that the border is closed and quote unquote don't come. Yet the border is wide open. You got caravans coming. Everybody got the bug and a bunch of other bugs too. You know, House in Virginia, all kind of stuff. They got all that kind of stuff going on because they know the border is wide open. A Haitian guy was interviewed a few weeks back when the whole Haitian thing was happening, when they had 15,000 up under a bridge. They interviewed one person, and the guy had been in South America for the past 13 years. And they say, why cross now? Why pick right now to cross? You've been living in Chile for the past 13 years. Why would you cross right now? Well, Biden's in office and the border is open. So I thought right now would be a good time to come. I couldn't make it under Obama or Trump, obviously. So now Biden is here. I'm going to go ahead and cross. That's why they're coming. But anyway, under Trump, there was a zero tolerance policy. Now, the administration currently are saying, hey, if you were affected negatively by the zero tolerance policy, if you suffered mental anguish or distress or PTSD or depression, you could get reparation money. $500,000 thereabout each for each person affected, not each family group, each. So it stacks. They're talking about, okay, you're getting $450 per person. So if it's two people, you get $900,000, right? Now my brain is doing the math. I'm thinking, okay, it might not just be a mom and their son. It might be son, daughter, mom, and daddy. So if they're all affected, if they go to the wherever, they crying tears, all this and that, they can prove that they were affected negatively. All right, well, let's get 450 times 4. So you're talking about a serious amount of money, right? All because of what? All because they broke the law. First of all, because understand this, it's illegal to cross the border illegally. You can't approach the border without any kind of paperwork, documentation, or whatever. If you're trying to cross illegally and you get sent back, that's the appropriate action. That's the legal action to take. You break the law and you get offended that the law was enforced on you. Now you're going to sue, or not sue, you're just going to get paid a bunch of money. Now, like I said in my video, I did a bunch of math. I'm no Albert Einstein, of course. You know, I don't know all my math here. But I read where they said that it was about 5,000 kids were affected by this. That could easily change, but I'm just doing it for math's sake. Let's say it was 5,000 kids that were affected by this zero tolerance policy in a negative way. They got PTSD. They've been crying every day, all this, that, and the third. Now, if every kid had one parent, that's 10,000 people. So 10,000 times 500,000 for math's sake, make it even. That's $5 billion for breaking the law. Understand this. If you have an intruder in your home, they break into your house, you could shoot them, kill them, and don't need to go to court. But if you break into the country, you get paid millions of dollars. Now, my question is, where are they even at? Are they back in Mexico or in the U.S.? I presume they still be in the U.S., right? That's what I presume. Because, I mean, how are you going to pay them if they're not in the U.S. anymore? But you're going to go to a foreign land and try to find them? They may not be in San Diego, Tijuana, or Juarez, Mexico. They might not be right on the border in Mexico. They might be somewhere clear across the world. They could be in Africa. They could be in Europe, Asia. They could be anywhere. So are you going to fly the money to them? Like how they did with Iran, all the pallets of money? Are you going to wire them the money? How are you going to get it to them? They're probably here in the U.S., so check it out. They broke the law, didn't really get punished because they're here in the U.S., and you're going to pay them? Now, black folks, didn't I say that this will happen with illegal aliens, reparations, or whatnot, and you wouldn't get it? I've been saying it. I was asked in a debate on RT, you guys may have seen, about this. And I said, it'll never happen. Reparations for black folks. What did they say when they asked Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, hey, how about black folks, reparations, what are we going to do? Or we're going to do a study. We'll look into it. That means they're not going to do anything. There could be cash allocated to perform this study, That person will get paid a bunch of money to do the study. But at the end of the day, you won't get paid any money from that study. Because what are you studying? Okay, we've had a lot of time to discuss what happened during slavery. It was over in 1865. It's 2021. It's been a very long time since slavery was over with. What are we studying? Huh? What are we going to find out now that we didn't know back 150 years ago? The border thing happened in 2018. They got the money allocated. They know who they're going to give it to, how they'll give it to them, how much it's going to be, why they're going to do it. They know all of that in 3 years. Matter of fact, really 1 year, because actually less than 1 year, because Biden's been there since January of this year. It's November almost, October really, and they're going to pay money. It took them all of 9 months to figure that out. But for you, black folks talking about reparations, 150 years, no money. You know what they're going to say? If they were real, they would say, look, we had affirmative action, welfare state, all this stuff, grants, integration. We did all of that. We're not going to do no more. You're done. You're tapped out. Ain't no more money. That is the actual party line, but they won't say that because that's racist. They can't do that. They want your vote still. They don't have to do anything really extra to get your vote, but they don't want to really offend you outright like that. So they'll string you along. Oh, no, we'll do it. We'll do a study. Yeah. But they won't actually give you any more than what you have. Trump said, hey, we're going to steer $500 billion to the black community. $500 billion. What do black folks say? No, we don't want that. We want Biden. And what Biden say? I ain't giving you nothing. Matter of fact, I'm going to take that money and send it to illegal aliens. How about that? Trump said, no illegal aliens. Let's help American citizens. America first. Biden said, yo, forget that. Illegal aliens first. But Trump's the racist one. Trump's orange man bad, right? Matter of fact, hold on. I got a great video that kind of encapsulates this. And this is Eva Marcel. She was on America's Next Top Model, if I'm not mistaken. She's like a kind of an E-list celebrity now, I suppose. Kind of like how Jada Pinkett would be if she did not get married to Will Smith anyway. So here is Eva, I suppose, crying over Joe when he became the president, allegedly.
As one nation, but joy cometh in the morning.
Come on, Joe!
We will get through this.
We gonna get through this together, y'all.
Together. As one.
Crying. It's like, lady, look, why are you crying over Joe Biden? Is that your king? Is that your king, Joe Biden? Halfway dead, 78, going on 788 years old? Huh? That's your king? Oh, okay. He's the guy's going to save you? Oh, okay. Trump's racist, orange man bad? Oh, all right. Well, how you like that now? Your gas prices up $1.25 from this time last year. Okay, try to get some food, try to get some water, try to get some supplies, try to get a thing from overseas you can't get because there's no labor, there's no trucks, no longshoremen, shortshoremen, none of that going on right now. Oh, but that's your man. You want to cry over him, but then screech about how Orange Man's bad. It's like, what are we even doing? What are we doing? Matter of fact, one more time for the road.
One nation, but joy cometh in the morning.
Come on, Joe!
We will get through this.
We gonna get through this together, y'all.
What are you crying about, though? Like, my question is, what are you crying about? Like, I never heard anything from Joe Biden that was really poignant. You know what I'm saying? Barack Obama is a good speaker when he's able to read from a script. He's a very good teleprompter reader. Barack Obama, that is. Very powerful. MLK on a teleprompter. Now, when he's kind of off the cuff, he's not very witty. He's a short-witted kind of guy. But Joe Biden, on the other hand, is not good off the cuff, not good on a teleprompter, just not good at all. So what did he say that made you just start busting out crying like that? People are crazy. Get your mind together, Miss Lady. But anyway, I digress. So why do all that crying for no reason? And you know what? Through all of this, you see what he's doing. Ain't nothing really happening. You're not getting what you want. The country is not where it should be because of policies that are coming from the White House, from your man that you cried over. Through all of that, you probably still do the same thing next time because you're ignorant. You're sleeping. You're asleep. You're crying because you're in the Matrix pod. Wake up out of the pod and come back to real life. But I'll move on. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. Please give the video a thumbs up. Also, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And don't be discouraged. Anybody out there saying, you're discouraged? Don't be discouraged because it's up and down. It's just like business, right? I've been doing my own thing for about 15 years, self-employed, right? Before YouTube, before anything even really existed, I've been kind of out here just self-employed. And one thing I know is that you can have great times, good times, everything's going smooth, you're getting plenty of money, you're balling out of control, popping bottles and all this. You're having a great time, but then sometimes things slow down. That's just business. It's the same thing going on right now with the country. I don't think we're doomed, but we got to make some drastic changes to get back on track, for sure. For sure. It's not impossible, but I think people start to realize that we need to make some changes. Politically, from the federal government, local government, personal lives, everything else. How we eat food, all that stuff. How we just live as Americans, we got to change. But it can happen. It's not a hopeless thing. Not at all. So don't be discouraged. Be optimistic for the future. Do whatever you can to make life better for all of us. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I'll move on to the next topic of Super Chat. So they get everything. Reparations for illegal aliens, Obama, Q, Lincoln Project, trash protests. Yeah, I got everything. Okay. Super Chat on deck. We're going to get to those, and then we get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Give me about 50 minutes or so we get straight to it. And let's go to where the Super Chats are hiding at, because they are in hiding. Let's go ahead and get to them. And where we at? October 30th. Thank you to the Royal Department, the Real Hydro PX, who says, did you ever speak on Walmart Incorporated has launched a critical race theory training program that denounces the United States as a, quote, white supremacy system? I saw that on Twitter, but I've not looked into it yet. I may, matter of fact, hold on. Let me go ahead and just bookmark that. That's a good topic. Walmart, white supremacy. And, okay, here's the article. It's a little old. It came from about 2 weeks ago. It says, woke Walmart trained staffers in critical race theory. U.S. white supremacy. Okay, I see it. My thing is, what's the point in doing that, though? Walmart, really? Why do that? It's so dumb. Okay, hold on. The anti-view says, Ice Cube ever get that meeting with Joe Biden? I don't think so. He met with the Congressional Black Caucus, and that was a dumpster fire right there, because they lied on him, talking about he said something he didn't say. It was a mess. They kind of played him. The main guy, Richmond, I think his name is. He was rude to Ice Cube. It was a mess. Trump and his people were better than Biden and his people. Shout out to Apu for a few supers here. He says, ABL Marshall Taylor Greene called out Sheila Jackson Lee, saying that Biden is abandoning reparations for Black Americans in favor of big money for illegal aliens. 1 year ago, you predicted Democrats would do this. I told you, I know what I'm talking about. Like, these people are predictable, because when they said we're going to do a study, I'm like, oh, okay. Right there, I knew they were just going to blow you off. It was never going to be reparations. It wasn't going to be any money at all. Trump said $500 billion platinum plan. Remember that? But that's gone now. Black folks said, nope, we don't want $500 billion from Orange Man. We want zero from the dead man. Allegedly. I'll move on. Apple says, ABL, you are comedy gold. Dennis Rodman, imagine Wu-Fan combined. Imagine Wong Fu. Yeah, two Wong Fu. What's his next movie? Imagine Wong Fu combined with Super Shredder from Ninja Turtles plus the biggest dude you ever seen. Yeah, exactly. These big transgenders, man, it's crazy. You know, Dennis Rodman was about, what, 6'8", 6'9", when the whole wedding dress on? I mean, just monstrous. But is that a transgender or a cross-dresser? I can't tell anymore. I feel like these kids, like the young people on TikTok especially, making up genders all the time to get attention. Just for attention, no other reason. Because if you're just a normal person, a regular, a guy walking around normal, you will not get attention that you would get if you just are abnormal. If you got a horn growing right here, you may get kind of negative attention, but it's attention nonetheless. Apple says January 6th patriot Nathaniel DeGrave wrote a letter from D.C. jail. Horrific abuses happening to January 6th MAGA patriots. Beating, starvation, solitary, Lord have mercy. Jazz says, off topic, but do you know of great jazz fusion bassist Victor Wooten from Virginia? I don't, but the name sounds familiar. Matter of fact, hold on, I'm gonna look him up because I've heard the name before. Let me see. Is he in a particular group? Let me see. No, I don't know. I don't know him, but I have heard the name before. All right, Apple got a few more here. He says, follow Julie Kelly, reporter for American Greatness. Will do. All right, we got you on that. Thank you. Apple also says, God bless Patriot Freedom Project trying to help. And Ray Epps is a Fed defunding the FBI, January 6th inside job. Yeah, the whole January 6th thing, we know there was some federales involved in that. That's clear. You know, agent provocateurs, either they were just direct FBI federale agents or rabble rousers like BLM or Antifa who were there for the same purpose. We know that. And we know that your man from Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, got picked up by the federales and he was a federal informant. We know that. That's proven. There's documents about that. So it's not even a question. The question is how many of them were there? Why is it that some of these guys who were on tape and got arrested are in jail, but others are not? And they did the exact same thing. I mean, it's just questions. Thank you to Jean-Louis Blackburn, who says, I'll call sometimes, but for now, FYI, you're my mom's favorite talk show. Her mom is Choctaw. Okay. So reparations for us? I don't know. It says, can we get that for our family being separated during the Indian removal by Andrew Jackson? Hey, it's a good question. I feel like you're only going to get money if it's politically advantageous. In the case of the illegal aliens, what they want to do is bribe them to become Democratic Party voters for life and for generations to come. Hey, you know what? When your granddaddy got here, he got $1 million from the Biden administration. So they're going to always vote for the Democratic Party. They want to try to buy loyalty. And they also want to try to get them amnesty so they can vote. Pardon me. Magic Johnson's. I'm not going to read his name. He says, I'm eating a Twix bar, but I'm not wearing a dress. Doesn't make me a bigot. Let's go, Brandon. The Real Hydro PX says, why don't black people protest house workers like Joy Reid? She's such a threat to the black community. Well, Joy Reid, I'm going to tell you about Joy Reid. Most black folks honestly don't even know who that is. For real. Most black folks are not politically aware. All they know is Democrat, good, Republican, bad. That's all they know. They don't really know a lot. And I dare to say that's probably the average American who thinks like that, but definitely black Americans don't know what Joy Reid is. The people who like Joy Reid are just like Joy Reid. Her audience is people that look just like her and think just like her. Your PhDs, I'm going to go down that road. But anyway, most black folks don't know who she is. If she's to go to an airport, she would get ignored. Put it to you like that. Apple says white nationalists like affirmative action versus eat higher. That's right. CA says, do you think when conservatives use terms like Democratic plantation toward blacks on the left, that's talking down and racist? No, I mean, I think if somebody's offended by that, it's just soft because it's an accurate depiction of what's happening. And it's not even a matter of trying to offend the person you're talking to. We're trying to talk about how negative the Democratic Party is and how they treat black folks. Look at what's happening right here with the reparations thing. Black folks had a sit down with Joe Biden. They got all kind of people together. They got organizations and whatnot. And they say, reparations now, reparations tomorrow. We want this money. What are you going to do for us? Nothing. But still, vote Democrat. We won't do a thing for you, but we expect blind loyalty, total allegiance. And if you don't vote for us, we're going to punish you. We're going to beat you publicly. I mean, that's not us trying to insult the people that are the victims. We're trying to insult the victimizers. We're trying to insult the Democratic Party. So if anybody gets offended, it's like, why internalize what you aren't? Unless you are part of the Democratic Party and you don't want to leave, then I guess you would be insulted. But if you're not, then why be insulted? Apple says, Democratic playbook, racism, and white guilt, Biden voters. And to go back to CA about Democratic plantation, I don't get offended when someone attacks the Republican Party because I'm just Anthony. I'm not the Republican Party. You see what I'm saying? You're not attacking me. You're attacking the party. We could talk about policy and whatnot, but I'm not going to be offended at how you feel about the party itself, because that's not me specifically. I'm not the Republican Party representative. I'm just Anthony. I happen to vote for these guys, but that's just not who I am. But I digress. Bo versus Windshield says Biden to hand out $450,000 to illegal aliens who crossed under Trump. 1.7 million this year. That's the population of Austin and Seattle. Wow. Well, I think it's not to those who crossed. It's to those who crossed in 2018 who were it was kids and parents separated. Now, if you could prove that you were separated, if you were documented as being separated, you may be entitled to that money. So I'm not really sure who that is specifically, but I'm sure it'd be a cap. Because if you got 1 million people trying to get that money, they're not all going to get it. But hey, I've seen crazier things. To pay 10,000 people that money, it'd cost $5 billion. So you couldn't really go beyond that. It'd get kind of ridiculous. I read that it was 10,000 or 5,000 kids that were affected. Hold on. Apple says, Biden. Pope says, I'm a good Catholic. Biden is such a liar. By the way, rumor has it that Biden had a bodily accident during meeting. Wait, he doodled on himself? What happened? Pee on himself? Apple also says, Biden, Romney gonna have y'all back in chains, liar. Oh, that was crazy. And you know what? Biden said that in Virginia, in Danville, Virginia. My granddad's from that area, like South Boston, like which is right by Danville. And that area had like a lot of plantations and slavery. It was really hot down there. A lot of cotton and stuff right down in Southern Virginia, like Southwestern Virginia. That was crazy to say that right there in Danville. But that's Joe Biden. That's why I say he's not eloquent off the cuff or on the cuff. He's just not a guy that would invoke tears from anybody. So if you're crying, you got a problem with yourself mentally. Boomhauer says, missing the show tonight to go out to another steakhouse. Might as well eat while I can, right? Good luck in that Virginia race next week. 100%. Get somebody a good steak, man. Eat it rare, like a man. Apple says, reminder, U.S. Capitol Police allowed rioters into the Capitol, correct? The Anti-View says, did you see the Netflix employee behind the Chappelle thing filed charges against Netflix for retaliation? If charges, like, what's she going to do? Is she going to sue him or what? Is it a criminal case? That ain't going to go nowhere. Netflix got big money, long money. They ain't going to go nowhere. For the lawsuit in the trash. Apple says, ABL favorite pie, apple, blueberry, pumpkin, cherry, cream. Pumpkin. Out of that. Also, ABL, do you believe in ghosts or UFOs or Bigfoot? I have a ghost story, but UFOs, I think so. I think they're real. Bigfoot, no. But the ghost story happened. I was in West Virginia. I was in my grandmother's house. And my uncle told me about his brother who died in the war. I think it was the Vietnam War. that they would see him walking around in his uniform in the house occasionally. And I kind of favor him as far as my body type and how my just how I am, how I look. So whenever they see me, they kind of think about that uncle that they would see walking around with his uniform on in the house. So I don't know. I think I'm not sure how that works really as far as ghosts, but I think they're real. You know, the anti-view says 12 of my 321 graduating class have changed bathrooms. That is 3.7%. Happens to be better odds than getting the video number one survived the trandemic. Yeah, I mean that's pretty high though. I mean 3.7%. I think at a certain point that's people that are just trying to go into the other bathroom for other reasons aside from being transformers. Apple says ABL as a kid, what was your favorite Halloween candy? I like Starburst, stuff like that. Pez is my favorite one. I like Pez. Or some kind of chocolate like a Snickers or something like that. Yeah, but Pez was the wave. Mega Maniac, thank you for your donation. Mega Maniac, appreciate you for that. Thank you to Apple who says, ABL, what horror movie is most scary for you? I don't get scared at movies anymore. Movies are not scary as an adult. You know, I'm just not really afraid. My niece played that game on VR, Five Nights at Freddy's. My wife did too. They played it. And I was like, so I played it. I was like, I'm not really afraid of this. The little jump scares, they don't do nothing for me. Now, when I was a kid, the first oh my goodness, I was completely scared. I was terrified for a long time for that. But as an adult, I don't get scared of movies. That's it because I've seen too much as an adult. It ain't the same. But as a kid, the first was crazy. And also the Friday the 13th back in the day when I was a kid. I'll never forget, I was watching it. I think me and Dad were watching it. And it was a scene that now will probably be really kind of hokey and cheesy. But it had a roach inside of a microwave. To me back then, that was scary. But now it's like, why would they do that? It's just weird. Let me see. Thank you to San Diego Varsity Sports who says, my friend grew up with Ice Cube in Baldwin Hills, nice area. He was a nice kid with great parents, not a thug. Oh, yeah, definitely. An actor. I mean, the person you see in Are We There Yet? That's Ice Cube for the most part, right? Married, wife and kids, always been like that, you know? So shout out to Ice Cube. Ball versus Windshield says, schools in Oregon are so bad right now. Sub teachers do not have to have an education degree. No math, reading, or writing required to graduate high school. Yeah, I've seen it. We saw it with the boy in Baltimore at 1.3 GPA, but ranked middle of the class. So obviously the whole class can't read, clearly. If you can read at a school like that, why are you even there? Go ahead and drop out. You're not going to learn anything, but I digress. Ball versus Windshield also says, just so the liberal educators can say more kids are graduating to get federal monies. Yes, they push them through. They don't get taught anything, but they're still getting paid. Just like going back to Baltimore again, they get so much money, $15,000 or more per student. Like the third highest in the country per pupil spending is in Baltimore, Maryland. The kids can't read it at all, but the teachers, administrators, iced out. Watches, cufflinks, rings, big crazy, luxury car in the parking lot, all that good stuff. But the kids can't read it at all. So there's a problem, right? There's a disconnect right there. And then people will say, oh, they black, they can't read. That's natural. No, it's not. Like, I come from the hood too. And people, you got to have parents that care and you got to have good teachers. But really, it's the parents. If the parents don't care, then you're not going to have success, right? My mom cared about my report card. She would check my grades. And if I had bad grades, I'd get punished. If I had good grades, I'd get celebrated. And before I went to school, my mom did flashcards and Reading Rainbow, Sesame Street, stuff like that before it got woke and Lil Nas X got involved and they brought on drag queens. That's a different story. But I was taught before I got to school, a lot of these black kids and whatnot and other kids who might not be black, they go to kindergarten with nothing, a blank slate. Meanwhile, other kids can read, write a little bit, can color in between the lines. They have skills already. But other kids have nothing. They start at a blank slate. And if you have that kind of gap in between the kids, you can't make up for it, really. You can, but it'd be very difficult to do. The anti-view says, please do a video with his speech showing all the things they have actually done. Obama is speaking about the Democratic Party the whole time. They get to Chris Quiet, who says, oh, geez, I want citizens to vote. Me too. They get to Jenna Lynn, who says, showing respect from Queens, New York. Shout out to Queens, NYC. They get to Apple again, who says, scary Halloween story, Lizzo, purple sheer dress twerking. There you go. That's very scary. They get to the anti-view, who says, ID needed for the jab. Exactly. Alinda08 says, ABL, why is Obama flying around speaking at important governors' races? He's really the one in charge, isn't he? Or he wants to be. Well, Obama said when he left that he was not going to actually leave D.C. So he's still like out there campaigning for everybody that is running. Eric P says, look at sharp, ABL. $450,000 reparations for illegal aliens is crazier than 2 less shoes. Exactly. Very crazy. Take it to the comment Boulder, who says, where do we go from here? Truth. What will happen in a few years, decades? Well, only time can tell. I can't really predict the future, but I hope we go in a positive direction rather than a negative direction. Take it to Blast Radius, who says, I really don't want to hear Obama whining about, quote unquote, wasting time on anything when he spent his final term wasting time on passing fake affordable health care. Facts. Take it to Ian Randall, who says, Revelation 13:17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Yeah, so that's where we're going, right? Mark of the beast, put it on your forehead, put it in your hand, and you got to have that to be able to buy or sell anything. That's probably where we're going. Hopefully not. The comment Boulder says, where do we go from here? Truth. What will happen in just a few? Okay, I already read that one. Thank you to Ben, who says all the ports worldwide are blocked because shopping moved online. It'll only get worse. Correct. Thank you to Susan Mosley, who says, I forgot to donate, but my message was accepted. Thank you to Kenny Michael, who says, most people don't realize is that money that the families of undocumented people get, they won't spend much of it here in the U.S., but they'll send it to their homeland to buy cheaper land and property. Oh, yeah, that's a big thing right now. A lot of money gets, what they call that? Is it expatriated? I forget what it's called. But when they send money back to their country of origin, it's worth a lot more. So that's the whole game. People see them working kind of like low-paid jobs or whatever, but when they send that money back, oh, it's worth a lot of money. The Africans do it. A lot of Central Americans do it. Asians, they do it. It's very common. Officer Windshield says, over the next 4 years, the Biden administration will have encouraged an invasion of over 7 million. That's 4% of the population. That will cause major issues. 1,000% correct. It'll cause big-time problems. All right, so I got a few more here. Super chats on deck. Let me see what I have. Where are we at? Just to make sure I'm good. Okay. Thank you to Ron, who says, this is what happens when you elect Marxist grifters to get them reparation monies for lawbreakers. Exactly. Thank you to Devin, who says, if y'all want to help, check out Heritage Action for America, organize peaceful action on the ground. Thanks for your kindness, ABL. No ice, all heart. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you to Aaron P, who says, I'm broke. Should I become a Democrat? Hey, matter of fact, don't become a Democrat. Become an illegal alien. But become an illegal alien and get your money that way. Go cross the border, come back with no documentation and say, I'm illegal, and try to get paid that way. Thank you to Steak Sauce, who says, any plans to make Think While It's Still Legal and Black? Hard work pays off. I'll be out of Cali by this time next year. I think I'll do that. And also do hoodies. That was a request as well, to do like winter wear because it's getting cold. Thank you to Mark Trevino, who says, ABL, who do you like better, Dr. Fauci or Rochelle Lewinsky? I think I like Rochelle Walensky because she told the truth about the vax. Fauci, on the other hand, lies. So I like her better than him. Thank you to my man Matthew, who says, my ghost uncle taught me homeschool. Shout out to your ghost uncle. Shout out to Ghost Dad, the movie with Bill Cosby. Thank you to Magic Johnson, who says, ABL, are you a gun guy? If so, what gun would you recommend for a first-time gun buyer? Thanks in advance. It depends on what you are comfortable with. Any kind of, well, it depends. Like I like Glocks, handguns. I don't have any guns because they all just floated away in a tragic boating accident, so I don't have any more. But I like Glocks for handguns. But really, I like rifles, like carbine, 16. I like carbines personally. I feel like they're better to control. Now you can't really conceal carry that, obviously, but I like rifles just because it's easier to use. For me personally, handguns is a little bit more ornery. You got to recoil and whatnot, but a rifle is you got more points of contact. To me it's easier. So I suggest to get you an AR-15. Yeah, do that. Get you a nice little foregrip, all that kind of good stuff on it. Get a scope, get it zeroed, and you'll be good to go. Personally, that's what I like. You guys in the chat may think differently. Revolver is good for a new shooter too. Yeah, because it's easy to load. It's not going to jam up on you. So yeah, I don't recommend you get like a semi-automatic handgun first for a new person, but I like a rifle because it's easy to control. Handguns a little bit more difficult in my opinion. All right, so we got calls on deck. Thank you for being here yet again. Definitely appreciate you guys. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Yeah, it was a very tragic boating accident. I lost all of my weapons. That's a good point, dude. Yeah, get a 22 caliber. Yes, very good. That's a good point. Get a 22 caliber and then go up. Don't go 4, 5, 6 and all that, right away. Get a 22 and then very good. Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and get on in it. A BB gun. Yeah, we could do a BB gun. Like really, when I was a kid, I had a BB gun. But it was like the same kind of build as a handgun, as a semi-automatic handgun. It had a rack slide. When you rack the slide, you could pull BBs in it. I love that gun. I loved it. So that was good to get the handle of it. If you've not shot a gun at all, no BB gun, no handgun, rifle, nothing like that. Shotgun, yeah, don't do a shotgun right away. That's overkill. Get a rifle, 22 caliber, to plink, and then go up. All right. But the number to call is 434-658-1220. If my Skype does not work, it's not my fault. Please blame the white man because I don't take responsibility for that. All right. Let's go in and get into it. A Red Rider. Wow. Yeah, that's old school. But hey, man, they were out there for a reason. You can start, and you got to start, man. You got to crawl before you can walk. You know what I'm talking about? So let's go. 416 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
How you doing, Anthony?
It's all good. About yourself? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I don't know if you heard, but up here in Canada, we had a comedian who was taken to a human rights tribunal 10 years ago for making a joke about a kid who's got some kind of disease.
Uh-huh.
And he was ordered to pay $85,000 to them. So he fought this. He's in Quebec, and he fought it in the Quebec courts, and they turned it down. He had to keep fighting it. And then just the other day, it went to the Supreme Court, and they overturned it, and he's good to go. It was a pretty gross thing that he said, but still, it was in a private club. Like, you know what I mean? Just like anybody can go to it. You pay your money, you go in, but it wasn't meant to be like on television and stuff like that.
So he spent 10 years fighting this. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, he spent 10 years fighting it.
Oh,
And but what bothers me is there was 9 people on the Supreme Court there, and 4 of them actually voted against him.
that's crazy.
I find that scary for free speech. Like.
Do you guys have that in Canada? Free speech? Is that part of your constitution?
They call it freedom of expression,
Mm.
and they're fighting it. They also want to put all kinds of censorship on our internet, especially that idiot who's running our country. And if anybody wants to look it up, it's Bill C-10, Bill C-36, and it's basically any speech that can, I don't know, harm somebody or make them, hurt their feelings type of thing, if you really want to look into it. And it's bloody ridiculous. But speaking of bloody ridiculous, I was shocked when I heard that crap about $450,000 to these people.
Yeah, crazy.
And my way of fighting back at something like this is somebody ramming through a bill that says you can be awarded any amount of money when you sue the government like this as somebody who's not a citizen. And no matter what they offer you, like let's say they say, okay, you're awarded $10 million, the most you can get is like $20.
Right.
Like the actual payout, $20. So you know what? Here, guys, $20, get out of here. And what I really don't understand is why they're even entertaining this, because when I looked into this, I remember before they were talking about suing the government, there was they were talking about them separated at the border and being in those holding centers, which all the Democrats were whining about. And they said that anytime they want to go, they can go free if they want to go back across the border. Not a problem. So if they've got any kind of mental problems or anything because of this, it's their own problem. They brought it on themselves.
Exactly.
So, anyhow, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for taking my call. Talk to you later, man.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All righty. Let's get to the next call. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Skype's being weird again, of course. Let's try and wait for it to correct itself. If it doesn't work, again, it's not my fault. There's also an email in the description box if you want to call in that way. Let's go to the next one here. All righty, Matt, what's going on?
Anthony, what are you doing, man?
Ain't too much, man. Just chilling.
Yeah, I guess Obama's claiming that he can get that $450,000 because he came here illegally.
Hey, he might try to get that money. Who knows?
Yeah, he was separated from his family too, from what I heard. Yeah, you go deep dive into that Sabood thing with that Loretta Fuddy. That's a deep hole. And then I guess Mayor Lightfoot wants to get it too because she straight up looks like an alien. Hey, have you? I'm pretty sure. Maybe I missed that show. Have you heard about this forum that Dr. Fauci was part of, where they're basically conspiring that if an avian flu came out, that would be a great opportunity to try these new vaccines?
I've not heard about that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah, it's pretty well debunked by the official debunkers, I guess, on the web. So it's probably true.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've watched the whole thing in context on C-SPAN. I think if you Google, or anybody wanting to, don't do it now, of course, but the Milken Institute universal flu vaccine is and it's all on C-SPAN. But if you get into that, basically they're trying to create a centrally planned immune system.
Wow.
They want everybody to have a vaccine all year round, even a patch that you wear on your arm all year round.
So basically it's like they want everyone to It's weird though. So they want everyone to have the same kind of medications, I suppose.
Yeah. So basically, and I remind you too that this is like pre-COVID. Like, so they thought that this would happen with the avian flu. But basically, they were wanting to roll out this mRNA thing for all viruses whatsoever. So they would basically go around and cultivate samples and specimens and say, well, we need to protect people against this. And then they would make a cocktail and then put a patch on you where you absorb the vaccine or inoculation or a pill, and you would be basically protected against the centrally planned immune system. So you can't Google this study that I'm getting ready to tell you about because Google scrubbed it. But recently, the study is called "Increases in COVID-19 are unrelated to levels of vaccinations across 68 countries and 247 counties in the United States." And this was done by Harvard and Stanford, where they basically scatter plotted all vaccination rates for every country and the case and mortality rates for each country, and there's no pattern whatsoever. Like, low vaccinated countries are doing just as good or bad as vaccinated countries. And their findings are, again, this is Harvard and Stanford, and their findings is that basically people's immune systems are fatigued. So what Fauci and these crooks want to do for all vaccines, we can't even do it for one because it's basically wearing our immune systems out.
I see.
Yeah, man. And your 2 callers ago or your comments ago, if you're a first-time shooter, don't use whatever gun Alex Bones is using.
Yeah, don't do that, please.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Don't get advice from them. Get whatever is the bullets are cheap. AR-15, the 223s are down. They were up at I was paying 85 cents a round out here, and I think I got some for less than 50 cents a round a few weeks ago. And then they do make pellet guns that have the same, especially for pistols, they have the same exact action as the real gun. And Colt makes them, and I think, I know of the Colt ones. I'm pretty sure the other manufacturers do as well. So that's all I got for you, man.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, be good. Watch out for your uncle.
All right. Shout out to my man, Matt. But yeah, definitely, pellet gun at first to get some training, get the same action going, and then get some 223. Yeah. Yeah, I love not my rifle, because again, I don't have any guns, but I love rifles, period. That's my favorite. I'll be like Omar on The Wire, carrying a rifle on my leg. But anyway, I'll move on. Let's go 860, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL, you there?
I'm here.
Awesome, bro. This F&A Ranger Xbox, I'd like to talk a little bit about my personal opinion and theories about what this transgender sexualization or the critical racist training that they're pushing on the kids. That's to break them down mentally to make them more susceptible to being molested by adults, along with the transgenderism to mess them all up mentally, to not give them a firm foundation of mental health to stand on as they go through transitioning into teenagers and into young adults.
Yeah, it's clear.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, because there's also some of these books that kind of coincide with that, but they're showing explicit graphics that kind of lean into that. So it's making it to where these things become normalized, where if an adult male is approaching a boy underage, then the boy may feel like, oh, this is normal, when it's not, obviously.
Exactamundo. And this is, look at how many times Clinton was on the logbooks of the Lolita Express, and several times without his security. And Barney Frank, one of his gay lovers, not Fred Most, who worked for Fannie Mae, which conspired to collapse the American housing market, but Another one was busted growing pot in Barney Frank's townhouse, but he didn't know anything about it. And then he was running a little boy prostitution ring in Barney Frank's little Washington townhouse. But Barney Frank didn't know anything about it. And then Barney Frank retired and everybody forgot about it.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. We need term limits. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm an American. And I support the people who are going to support Americans. I don't care about Hondurans, Nicaraguans, and Salvadors. They got their country. They can run it any way they see fit. And these people that don't like America, I suggest they move to a country whose flag they like.
That's
live,
right.
Live, live and love. That's basically all I got. I love your show, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, you take care, ABL.
All right, same to you now.
Bye-bye.
Right on point about that. It's like, hey, if you hate this country, it's so bad, then what are we doing? You guys may have seen me on Jubilee when I did that last year. I went to LA and filmed it last year, and it's been on YouTube for quite a while. I had it on the green shirt with no hat, whatever, and I was talking, and it was a trans woman. Well, pardon me, it was a trans man. So it was a woman that became a man. So they were there, and it was like black conservative versus black liberals. But anyway, I was on that panel, and that's done pretty well on YouTube. But they put it on Facebook recently, and so I got a whole new audience that never seen it on YouTube because a lot of Facebookers, they stay pretty much right there. But anyway, so people were talking about the comment I made saying that this is the best country on planet Earth. People were saying, oh, no, it's not. But out of everyone who said that I was wrong about what I was saying about this being the best country, nobody said where the best country is. Nobody said, oh, that's not the best country. Here's the best country. Everybody knows this is the best country on planet Earth. People risking their lives to get here. They'll wait years, 20 years, they'll try to get over here. Everybody wants to get here. And then one person I kind of got, because they're from Slovakia, I was like, look, you typing in English right now with a bunch of Americans, like, I don't want to learn your language. Had nothing to say, but I'll digress. The point is that everybody wants to come here because it's the best country on planet Earth. China, Russia, all of that, okay, that's fine. You got little missiles and whatnot. Great, cool. This is the best country. 586 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. It's me, Andrew. I called you a few months ago, or probably like 6 months ago now. How you doing?
I'm well. About yourself?
I can't complain. I heard you talking about guns earlier. Wanted to throw my 2 cents in. You guys can buy an 80% lower and build your own gun if you're a machine type person. So that's the way I went. I ended up chrome plating my 80% lower, so it looks pretty nice. But yeah.
Sounds good to me. Sounds fantastic.
So I saw I saw your video on the 450,000 for these illegal immigrants, and boy, when you said steam going through the ears, I was pacing up and down in my room screaming at the wall. Like it took serious doses of the medical stuff, devil's lettuce, to make me not. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's going to pass in the House and the Congress. Do you?
I mean, I don't think so, but you know, I've seen crazier things happen, so I don't put this past them.
Yeah, well, I think that if they pass that, then it's time for a bunch of Americans to just rush Mexico and just start crossing the border and speaking Spanish and just saying, hey, where's my 450, you know?
That's right. You know, hey, you know, no English. Por favor, no English. Where's the money?
Yo estoy en Estados Unidos, New Jersey. ¿Y tú? ¿Por qué?
There you go.
But, yeah, no, I really appreciate what you're doing on here. I hadn't got to talk to you in a while. I was the guy who lived out in Detroit in the Bandos. I don't know if you remember that phone call, but.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, you know, I'm out in Jersey now, and things are going better, but it's the DPRNJ. That's really all I got to say, and I want to thank you for what you're doing. So,
well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Yeah, that whole thing with the illegal aliens, reparations, that's crazy. I mean, it may not pass, but again, I've seen crazier things happen. Nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to what the left will do. I'm not surprised at all at whatever they do. All right, Victor, what's happening?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Hey, I early voted, and there was 2 ways to vote. The traditional way, with the paper ballot, and with the computer. I've seen hackers. Well, I haven't seen it, but I know about hackers, the movie Hackers. And I've seen what happened with the recall vote, with the machines voting for Newsom. I don't trust the machines.
I hear you.
Yeah. So anyway, man, the statue that you mentioned a while ago in Richmond with Robert E. Lee.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen when they took down Robert E. Lee statue and Stonewall Jackson statue at University of Virginia.
Right. Yeah. It was only a matter of time because you see one thing happen, then it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what other statue that went down?
What was that?
Thomas Jefferson, New York City.
Hey, before you know it, they're going to take the whole UVA down because that's his school.
Oh yeah. I expect it because it's going to be inevitable. There's also a Stonewall Jackson statue, a very majestic statue in Manassas. Even though that's on a historical land site at the Battle of Manassas, I can't see it being there for long.
Oh yeah, no, they'll take all the statues. It reminds me of what the Muslims do when they come in conquest. They changing names, tearing down statues. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah. You know what's so funny about taking down Thomas Jefferson statue in New York? The reason why they took it down because he owned slaves. However, they have a Vladimir Lenin statue in New York, and that's not being touched.
Oh, that's fine. So you can have gulags, millions dead, people getting killed. That's totally fine. No problem. Mass murder, it's all good. Slaves, nope. Mass murder, yeah. Yeah.
Have you been keeping up with the RICO, with the old block RICO and FBG Duck case?
No.
I mean, it shows how fans are stupid. Reason why is because they are blaming the YouTube bloggers like DJ Academics for taking down or arresting the people that's involved with the FBG Duck murder.
I mean, they got law enforcement, federal agents. I mean, like they didn't play a part in it. I mean, there's, and my thing is, if academics knows what's going on, you think the federales don't know? You think the local authorities don't know? You think they're not getting tips and stuff from friends and family that know what's going on the ground? I mean, academics is no investigator. He's just reporting what he sees on the internet like everybody else. So how are they going to blame him?
Yeah. In fact, there's one YouTube, Chicago Scene 88. He cracked the case 15 days after the killing.
Right.
And the people he named, or he or she named in that video were the same people they arrested.
But see, academics is more popular and everybody knows his name. He can identify him as like, hey, it's his fault. Blame him. Blame the popular guy with the big platform. Meanwhile, everybody knew what was going on. One guy had it solved in 2 weeks, but because that person is not very popular, we ignore it.
Yeah. And what's so crazy is that they call them snitches. First off, they're not part of the streets, so they don't go by the street code.
Right. No.
On top of that, you have people on Reddit. You have even Moab, one of the people arrested, that made a shoe showing that I may have killed FBG Duck. So you're just snitching on yourself. These bloggers wouldn't know if you weren't even talking.
Right, exactly. They won't even know nothing. You telling everything that the authorities need to go ahead and lock you up.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Bye.
Yeah, this whole thing about the snitching culture, no snitching and stuff like that is so silly because When you're talking about snitching, you're referring to people that are involved in crime who tell on people that they do crime with, not the regular normies outside. And, you know, there's a shootout, somebody gets shot, just an innocent person. If they tell, that's not snitching. People are just kind of, I don't know. And then the funny part is about snitching, the guys that are in the streets that are committing crime be the first ones to snitch because ain't no honor among thieves. If you're a criminal doing bad things to other people, why wouldn't you do something bad to a guy you commit crimes with? You see what I'm saying? The criminals and whatnot be the first guys to snitch. They'll snitch before a regular person would. But that's a different story. And I digress. Let's get to some more here. Let's go. Okay, let's go. 410, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 410, hello.
Hey, ABL, nice talk. Hey, I called you a couple weeks ago from Ashburn, Virginia.
All righty. What's going on?
I was the guy that lives across the street from Stonebridge High School where the rape occurred.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and thank you. Today I actually donated to Kyle Rittenhouse, and he's the kid that was, with the AK-47 that was trying to protect the businesses.
Yeah,
So
out there
that's
in
a good
Kenosha,
website.
Wisconsin.
Free Kyle, I think it is .com or something. We already voted here, but I've been hearing in Fairfax County, and that's why you need to vote early. I live in Loudoun. People are being denied in Fairfax County voting in person because they send out mail-in ballots, and then when they go to vote, they can't vote.
So people that had their votes intercepted already by other people, stolen, and
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So they can't vote.
Wow, yeah, that's terrible.
So, I just want to call in and, thank you for everything you do. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you, ABL.
No problem.
Bye.
Yeah, shout out to the caller. But yeah, what they got to do, the whole thing with the mail-in ballots has to stop. That needs to be on the state level, obviously, because not all states do that. And the thing is, what they do is they just mail out a ballot to anybody that's on the roll. So you may have had a previous address, like let's say you've not updated your address, but you still have your identification from that address, and you go vote with that. But if the ID gets mailed to your old address without you asking for it, somebody can vote as you if they get it and send it, and then or steal it from the mail. It's a mess. All right, Skype caller, who am I speaking to? Hello? Skype caller, hello?
Yeah, can you?
If you're talking, I can't hear you, boss. All right, we gotta hang up. Sorry, man. If anybody that calls in for the first time, please be ready on the phone because you can't talk to the screen. It's not going to work at all. Be ready on the phone to talk to me, and we can go forward. All right, let's go. 619, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello from northern Mexico. San Diego. How are you doing, ABL?
I'm well. About yourself?
I'm doing great. I just want to give a shout out to you and say thank you to you and Modern Renaissance Man because I'm a federal worker and I followed his guidelines and I got approved.
Well, there you go. Congratulations. I'm glad that worked out well for you.
Is that ABL?
It's ABL.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Oh, we love you so much. You stand for America. I love you. Oh my God, I love you. I'm like gonna.
All right, ABL. Yeah, I just want to say a quick shout out to you guys. Long time listener, first time caller. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, ABL, can you do me a quick favor?
What's that?
Can you just say hi to me just real quick? You can say hi.
Hi, hello.
Oh,
Awesome sauce. Hey, Bill, you have a great show, and we love you. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, now, y'all take care. Shout out to everybody calling in. I appreciate y'all. Hey, I feel great. I'm glad that my man, Modern Renaissance Man, was able to come through and save that man's job. I'm glad he was able to do that. So shout out to my main man, Modern Renaissance Man. If you're listening, you're doing the Lord's work out here, sir. So shout out to you, man. 100%. All righty. Let's get to a few more. The number to call, of course, is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. That was a great call. Made me feel real good, for real. Let's get to a few more here. All right. 720, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Jake from Denver.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Oh, not a lot. Just tuning in. Usually try to tune in on Wednesdays and Saturdays whenever you come on live. Like the show a lot, especially when it's on live. I guess my call this evening, with Halloween kind of being out there tomorrow, I just couldn't help but coming up with this book I was reading, and it was about this ranch. Let's see, it was in Utah, and this family ended up running into like a lot of weird anomalies. It was like Bigfoot sightings and orbs and portals and poltergeist stuff. And I guess eventually some billionaire went ahead and just purchased the ranch. And reading this book, they were talking about, seeing like, different aircrafts that like made no noise or, motors. It was just dead silence. So I guess, being Halloween, it just kind of brought that up. I was like, well, okay, that's kind of a cool book. And then it kind of goes back to I guess our Air Force or military. And I remember years ago when they raided bin Laden's compound, and the neighbors of the compound that they got bin Laden, the residents didn't even hear the Americans come to get bin Laden. And I was just kind of wondering, I was like, I wonder if they ever just kind of had like some experience, or maybe just had like 20 years, 30 years ahead of, technology, I guess, with some of these aircraft whenever, they're overseas or, during deployment and stuff. So I just thought that was kind of cool that someone brought up some Halloween questions and coming up with, Halloween, I don't know, stories. I thought that was kind of cool. You brought up the thing with your uncle. So I just want to throw that out there, I guess. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Yeah, shout out to the caller. And if you guys didn't hear what I was saying earlier, what I was talking about as far as my Halloween story, when I was in West Virginia, like a long time ago, I had to have been like maybe a teenager, I guess. So this is probably about 30 years ago, maybe. Not 30 years ago, probably about 20, 25 years ago, I guess. But I was up there, and my uncle, who is like my grandmother's brother, so my great uncle, he was talking about how his brother was in Vietnam and he died in the war. But what happened was they would see him in the house with his uniform on, walking around, and how I kind of resembled my uncle, and like in my face, especially when I, make certain expressions in my body type. So whenever they see me, they kind of talk about how they would see him sometimes walking around with his uniform on. I think my grandmother said that too. Like my great grandmother, I think she said that she would see him walking around in his uniform. Like not threatening at all, but just they would. So I don't know, ghosts could be real. They may not be. I'm not really sure. So let's go to 773. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
How you doing, ABL? I love your channel, by the way. I've been a Chicago police officer for 24 years, and I'd just like to clarify a few things that's happening here in Chicago with the vaccine mandate. what happened is the mayor had us go into a portal to declare whether we're vaccinated or not. And she made it seem like it was that simple, a yes or no question. If you're vaccinated, you had to download your vaccination card. If you're not vaccinated, you have to submit to a COVID test twice a week at your expense.
Wow.
Which I'm fine with. Because I'm not vaccinated. I don't really trust the vaccine. I think there might be problems with it that, for some people, not for all. But I was at the height of COVID, and when everyone was, isolating themselves, I was out on the streets, going into people's homes, going into homes with parties, going into, arresting people, touching people, and I'm still COVID negative. So every Monday and every Thursday, I take a COVID test. I take a picture of it. I download that and send it to the city every Monday and Thursday to say if I'm negative or positive. I've been negative each time. Here's what our union, the Fraternal Order of Police, have proposed, and this is what has not been told in the news. The Fraternal Order of Police, which I think is a good compromise, by the way, what they have proposed is, what we've proposed is every day at roll call, each officer that's about to go on the street takes one of those quick COVID tests. It only takes 15 minutes to get the results. If you're negative, they give you the keys to the squad car, you go out on the street. If you're positive, you go home, you report to the medical section in the morning or, that day, and, then you're isolated for 14 days, you go to the doctor, whatnot. And here's the part that I have a problem with, and this is why I will be retiring 6 years before I want to. 24 years on, a full pension's 29 and a day, which is 30 years. I'll take a short pension because I don't want the COVID shot. And here's what's not being reported. So this Monday and Thursday test that you take, the COVID test at my expense, which I don't mind. It's about $125 a month, twice a week. It comes out to about $125 a month on my dime, which I'll write off on my taxes. But as of December 31st of this year, so a couple months from now, as of December 31st, that ends. On January 1st, that ends, and if you are not vaccinated, you do not work for the police department.
Wow.
You will be in a no-pay status. You'll be fired.
Wow.
Simple as that. And I have a problem with that. You know what? For the next 6 years, I would have taken that test. I don't mind. I don't mind letting you know if I'm COVID negative or positive. What I mind is that you're forcing me, in order to have a livelihood and in order to continue to be the police, that I have to take a vaccine that I don't believe in. And I'm negative. I believe in, your own immune system is keeping you safe from that. I don't think it's, it's that, simple that, everything is safe. So that's the problem we have. I don't think it's a bad compromise to be tested every day. And it wouldn't cost the city any money because the FOP was going to foot that bill. Our union was going to foot that bill for those quick tests every day to be tested at roll call. And she just says no. Now, there's been a number of lawsuits. One of the lawsuits is from mostly the fight, because it's all city workers. And she hates the police. We had our own lawsuit, and, it went nowhere. So now the fire department and the water department had a lawsuit. That's going nowhere. And the one that I was hoping would work is that the city council said, wait a minute, Mayor, you're not a dictator. We're the city council. We should have been consulted on this, and we should have had, been able to vote on this. Well, it did go to the city council, and she has enough cronies on the city council, aldermen and whatnot, that it was voted down, and that happened twice already. So it doesn't look like we're going to win, and it doesn't look like New York's going to win, and it'll just go the way of Portland and everything else. They want to fully vaccinate. They want to force you into getting vaccinated or losing your livelihood. I'm in a position, and I'm able to retire, and I'll retire before December 31st if none of these lawsuits go anywhere, because I just don't want to be vaccinated. I'm in the position, because of my time on the job and my age and whatnot, that I'm able to retire. But many guys, they have 8 years, 10 years in the job, but they're still young. They're not able to retire. And I feel for them, because some of them don't want to be vaccinated. So that's where we're at with that.
Now, I have a question. Now, as far as how are they going to replace all the guys that may end up retiring or get fired? Because I've heard that it's only like, they said it's like 1/3 of the police force out there in Chicago that is not vaccinated. So what are they going to do?
ABL, here's the problem, and this has happened many times. I've been an officer long enough on the streets, and I work midnight, so I work at night, and, I work in the ghetto, and, where it's rough, a million stories. Many times, I'm one of the only cars on the street, one or two cars in my whole district. The city is broken up into different districts, meaning different areas, from one street to another, and you patrol. I patrolled my district by myself. Why? Because at roll call, you're shorthanded. Then you have to add to the fact that, once you're out there, when you do make an arrest, you go into the station. Now you are not able to take the 911 calls. That is on the cars that are left on the street. So normally, each district is broken up into little beats, and they, if the beat car is available, they'll call the beat car for, the 911 call, domestic or, a shoplifter or shots fired or whatever that is. If I'm on an arrest, another beat car has to travel to go to handle my call. Then while I'm handling a call, if I'm handling a call and I'm not on an arrest, well, now other calls come in. So we're always shorthanded. And here's my answer to your question, ABL. They don't care. And that's really what it is. They will go shorthanded, and that's it. What they call it going in a rep. Going in a rep means 911 calls come in. They are from the dispatcher, they're put in a order of priority. So this is why when, I get a call, I take maybe a minute or 2 minutes to show up. And somebody says, I've been waiting for you for 2 hours. And I always explain to them, sir or ma'am, here's how it works. Certain calls that are not in progress calls, we're so busy with shots fired, those are hot in progress calls. Those are dispatched immediately. Other calls are held by the dispatcher as not high priority calls. Each call has a different priority. So for instance, if you come home and you've been burglarized, you call the police. Well, the burglar is gone. We have a couple hours, or the dispatcher has a couple hours to dispatch that call to the police. So she holds that because I'm busy with shots fired and in progress calls where somebody's, strangling their wife, or there's, somebody is robbing the 7-Eleven. All those calls are emergency calls, and we're busy on that. Then take into account, sometimes when I go to those shots fired, I actually arrest people and grab a gun. So I'm busy. So finally, once they dispatch that burglary call, I show up in 2 minutes. I just got the call. But you called 4 hours ago, so now you're mad. But here's the thing. We're sorry. And I explain it to them. Not all officers, it takes experience to know how to talk to people and, pacify them. Usually when I go, they understand what I'm talking about. Other coppers just say, oh, sorry, and the public thinks that you're not giving them the service. But another problem is there's normal retirements. People retire all the time, normally. Now there's an influx of retirements on purpose, early, like me. I would still be there, but I don't want to get that shot. I have 24 years in the job. I will get a pension, and I'll just exit gracefully. But the thing is, not only are there no new recruits coming in, when I started 24 years ago, there might have been 6,000 people taking the test. The last police test, only 500 showed up for the test. That's 500 that shows up for a test. Then you have to pass the test. Then you have to have background checks. You have to have psychological checks. I mean, they're giving you a gun, a badge, arresting powers, and the keys to a squad car and saying, see you later. They just can't have anybody. They have to screen people. They have to try to get the best people possible. And what will happen is you'll start settling for not the best people possible. And the next thing you know, coppers are taking bribes. They have, you're not getting the best people. They're not psychologically together enough to handle being the police. And then there's problems. And this is the problem with policing today.
Wow. Well, that's a lot of good information. So
I didn't mean to be long-winded because usually you have a lot of insight. But I wanted to get that out because, I love your channel. I love where you're coming from. And sometimes the problems that are happening in policing, listen, I understand. I don't agree with every single police incident, but you have to keep in mind of how many calls and how many incidences there are that, the police solve the problem without anybody getting shot or injured. And I've been in some dangerous situations where I handled the problem, and we, my fellow brothers and sisters, police brothers and sisters who handled the problems, hundreds of them. But sometimes things go wrong, and that's what I tell young guys. You see, another problem is people apply for a big city. I grew up in the city. I grew up around people of many different races and colors. But if you're a young white guy from the suburbs and everybody looks like you, and you apply to this department and that department, and the Chicago police or the San Francisco police or the Atlanta police or the New York police call you, come to our department, and suddenly you're some suburban white kid who gets put in the middle of the ghetto, because that's what happens when you first start, is that you're put on midnights in the middle of the ghetto because you don't have enough, seniority to get out of there. I like it. I work midnights by choice. I stay where I'm at by choice. I can go to a much nicer neighborhood, but I'm settled there. I'm a good policeman. I know the streets. And, I worked on units where I worked in every single neighborhood in Chicago. And, but when you're a young policeman, you can't be scared. And many policemen I see are frightened. And when you're frightened, you make rash decisions because you think your life's in danger. Well, your life might be in danger, but we have to react. We don't act. I don't start shooting first. We react to people. And when you get scared, you make a mistake. And people shoot people accidentally, or they jump the gun, and next thing you know, you're in court and everything else. Just like that, I don't like to second guess my fellow officers, but the McDonald, am I talking too much? The McDonald one where the Chicago policeman shot and killed the kid with the knife. That was much heralded here. Here's the thing. You could have let that guy do his little knife dance forever. You really could. You could have waited him out. Now, if he comes at you, you shoot him. Of course you have your gun out.
Right.
But, I'm sure right now that copper's in jail. I'm sure he's saying, gee, I just wish I would have just, de-escalated things. He felt his life was in danger, and you get scared. There's a guy with a knife, and he's moving, and he's jiggling around, and it's like, oh, at one time you might have got away with that, and, not to say that you kill somebody, but, and the same with the Floyd thing where he's kneeling on his neck. Everybody around him was a young rookie copper thinking, well, this copper knows what he's doing.
Right.
If I was there, I'd tell him, he's cuffed, get off of him. I would have never took him out of the squad car. I don't care if you're complaining. The bracelets are not there for comfort. They'll be off you in a little while. And I'm not trying to second guess that officer either. And obviously Floyd was not a model citizen. But the thing is, you can't be afraid as being the police, and you have to just kind of be level-headed. You really do. You have to be conscious every time because it's nothing until it's something.
Right on.
So, we're going to have a problem in these cities because people and the next generation.
Well, I don't mean to cut you right here, but this has been a great call, and I may clip it and upload it.
I didn't mean to be so long-winded.
It's all good. It's been a great call, actually. A lot of good information, a very educational call. Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
Bye.
All right, good call. I let him go a little bit because there's a lot of information about the police and what's happening, and a lot of questions that I was going to ask him. He answered without me having to ask. I was going to ask, okay, how about recruiting? How's that going? He answered that, and I was going to ask, well, what happens when you don't have good recruits? What's going to be the result? He answered that. So a lot of good things said, and I might clip that and upload it as its own video just so people can understand what policing is. People don't really know. They don't really ask police officers, and that's good to have an officer. Been on a job for a long time in the ghetto in Chicago, 20 plus years. Really good call. Make it to a few more here. And thank y'all for being here yet again. If you enjoy what you've heard, if you enjoy what you've heard so far, go ahead and get the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. 253 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Maurice from Washington State.
All righty. What's going on?
So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on in my state, because there's a couple of good things and bad things. And the first one would be that my small little town of Eatonville has defied Jay Inslee's mandate, or at least the school has. So they're not firing any of the teachers who didn't get vaccinated. So I wanted a little round of applause for Eatonville School District, which is a teeny tiny town in Washington State.
Right on. Absolutely.
But the second thing I want to talk about was just at least give some appreciation to you for what you were doing, or for what you're doing on your channel and speaking out. I have recently started a YouTube channel, and it was a lot because of you and how you discuss things and your dry humor and everything. And I think you really can reach out to people. And I had one of your videos shown to me from somebody else. So. And now, of course, I follow you, and I just wanted to say that I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
Same to you. All right. Shout out to the caller. And you guys, maybe you heard about the Joe Biden rumor that's floating around. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but this person, Amy Tarkanian, let me look him up right quick. Amy Tarkanian, former Nevada GOP chairwoman, TV political pundit and strategist, Gen X, blue checker on Twitter. This person says that the word around Rome is that Biden's meeting with the Pope was unusually long because Biden had a bit of a, quote, bathroom accident, unquote, at the Vatican, and it had to be addressed prior to him leaving. I know we joke about this often, but this is the actual rumor going around Rome right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's going on with that. Did he do to himself? Hey, man, if he did that, I'm not saying he did, but if he did do it, it's like, okay, like at a certain point, he's got to go. Clearly, he's not really there mentally. So this wouldn't necessarily be something that is too surprising. You understand what I'm saying? He is getting up there in age, about 80 years old. So, I mean, things happen. But that's pretty embarrassing, for your president to do it on himself in at the Vatican. But anyway, let me get to the next one. 843, you're online. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill. How you doing? My name's Joey.
All righty. What's going on?
I've been thinking about this all day, but I just can't help but theorize that the whole 450K, which at first, honestly, that's a lot of money. I mean, I can imagine what I could do with a lot of that kind of money in my bank account. But,
I mean, that's a lot of money. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I can't help but theorize that I feel like this is all the part of the whole divide and conquer agenda, because they want to I feel like they want to split us into social classes, if in my opinion, because you got your elites and your federales on top, and then in the middle, you got the people who makes it more clear that who they want to represent in the middle, giving them 450K. And then there's us, the taxpayers at the bottom, who I'm almost guaranteed that we're going to be the ones that are going to be paying for all this crap, if, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about the class separation, that's right on point. That's 100% correct. They want to have different little segments, you know, of different, they want to, they think that certain people have privilege based upon their race or whatever, so they want to try to destroy that and then create their own classes, vaxxed, unvaxxed, illegal, legal, black, white. They want to try to fix everything to what they like and then distribute things along those lines, which will cause nothing but fights and strife, but they don't really care because it's all about what they want, not what we want.
And to add on that, I mean, it's like if you're an illegal, you get rewarded for crossing the border illegally. These people don't get the word illegal. You can't do it. But they don't care, obviously. But while we, the taxpayers, we get stripped of our income if we don't comply with mandates. It's ridiculous.
Very, very much so.
I mean, there's really no other way to describe it. I mean, I've been seeing stuff. I mean, it's causing. I feel like it's just causing division in our country. I think it's just retarded, in my opinion. Because now you got Obama saying, "Oh well, Republicans are trying not to let you vote," but the real reason is they want voter ID. I don't understand what the big problem is. Oh wait, I obviously know why. It's in a way of their grand scheme of things.
Right, of course. You know, they want to be able to have that door open in case they need to use that trap door. That's all.
Oh yeah, yep. That's all it is. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, and you did the math. It was like 1.8 million. That's like I could pay my bills for the better part of at least a couple of years with that kind of money. No doubt.
Oh,
no doubt at all.
That's an insane amount of money. That's beyond what most people would see at one point ever.
Yeah, like literally, I can never dream myself having that kind of money unless I literally would work myself to death. And I'd say one thing about that one cop you spoke to earlier. I mean, that was an amazing call. I think you'd be great on Brandon Tatum's show, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely on that police panel.
Brandon would love to hear him.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, speaking of Brandon, I watched his video. I guess he somewhat did his like little reaction. He watched your little TikTok like video with the little tiki torches and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
You had him cracking up. You had him cracking up, honestly. I'd say, yeah. I figured I'd share that with you. You had him really cracking up. He couldn't stop laughing about when you were doing your little thing. I thought it was pretty funny to share about that.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna do more of those. I enjoy doing those videos. It's just pure fun to me.
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty funny, man. All right, well, that's all I need to say. Have a good night, and also, you guys have a safe and happy Halloween.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right, yeah. You guys, you guys enjoyed that that short I did. I'm gonna do more of those. That's gonna be something I do. I enjoy just this. I enjoy finding the funny part of reality, just in truth. That's all. That's what I like doing. Let me get to a few more here. 708, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, this is David. David from Stickney.
All righty, what's going on?
Well, I just had two quick questions, and I'll let them listen to that. I don't want to say the full thing, but did you hear the story about the, IV, the abbreviation, out of India, to where it cleared 71 of the 75 counties of COVID? They ran a course of that stuff.
You said, did I hear about what now out of India?
Well, IV. Ivor.
Oh, IVM. Okay, yes.
Yeah, there we go. IVM. You got it. Yeah. Did you hear that story? They got one out of the India. 71 of the 75 counties, I do believe. Oh, they call them districts. I'm thinking of Illinois. 71 of the 75 counties, no COVID cases, period, because they ran the IVM.
Not surprising. Not surprising at all. I also heard that 200 people in Congress took IVM before it became off limits to do so. So people know that it works, but big money comes into play, and they want to say that it's horse paste.
Yeah, exactly. And you know how the thing all went down with Joe Rogan, but yeah, we all know that story. But all right, just wanted to say good job, ABL. Love you. You're doing a good job, and I'm glad to have you around here and be able to get good information from you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Yeah, man, IVM, HCQ, all that stuff, it works. Like I said, IVM won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2005 or 15, whenever that was. So this is a thing that works. It's not some kind of crackpot conspiracy theory. It's a real medication that works, and it's prescribed by doctors, but they want to call it horse paste because the vax, there's a money thing applied to it. A lot of the pharmaceutical companies support big mainstream media with their advertising. So you don't want to lose your Pfizer advertising to support IVM because Pfizer loses out on that vax money. It's so simple. 312, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, is this ABL?
Yes, it is.
Hey, ABL, this is Mustafa. I'm calling from Los Angeles. I can't believe I'm actually on the call right now, but I just wanted to mention something that's kind of been going through my head. But first of all, I really love your show, and your audience is really smart. Thanks for everything that you do, and I have a ton of your merch. So the thing I wanted to bring up is just a small point. The other day I was talking to my mom. She's from Pakistan, right? And I was like, it turned out that Donald Trump was right about HCQ. And she was like, oh, my God, you have no idea how much of that we ate when we were kids growing up in Pakistan.
Exactly.
Like, why didn't you guys say anything?
Go ahead.
So I was like, what? How come you never told me about any of this before? She was like, well, that was just like a normal thing for us when we were growing up. Every winter, when the winter would come to the end, the parents would make us take the HCQ.
Right. I mean, it's like that all over the world, but not necessarily here in America. But then when it comes here, all of a sudden, oh, this is fish tank cleaner. It's dangerous for you. Well, why wasn't it dangerous for the rest of the whole world? People in small countries, poor countries, or whatever, they take it and they're fine. So, I mean, what's the problem? It's crazy. But again, it goes back to what I was saying about Big Pharma having a stranglehold on the mainstream media and politicians. If Pfizer is sponsoring ABC, NBC, CNBC, etc., and politicians giving the big donation money, then of course they're going to say that HCQ is nonsense. They're going to say IVM is horse paste because they can't make money off of that. But they can make money off of the vax that they put out, meaning Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, et cetera.
Yes, sir. And then so that leads me into, and I'll just answer here, that leads me into, my next question is, if we're Americans, why the hell are we letting this happen?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean letting happen.
Pardon?
It depends on what you mean by that, because some people aren't following these restrictions and rules and stuff. Some people are. It depends on where you live and what your politics are locally.
It ends up being that, because I live in a blue bubble, right? So it's really hard to convince. Everywhere I go, I'm just I feel like an alien, and it's just what the heck is going on? I don't understand why people are letting this happen. And then you look at the other states, and you're like, why do those people have a pair of balls, and why don't these people have a pair of balls? I don't understand it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what's going on. A lot of people think that the government know everything. They believe that the government is correct when they say that IVM is horse paste. They believe that. They don't want to think for themselves. They believe whatever the government tells them. Now, in some parts of the country, that's not true. We don't believe whatever the government says, especially not the federal government. We are more focused on the community and focused on more conservative values. Like where I am in Tennessee, there's no vax mandates, no mask mandates. I know people that got HCQ, IVM, all of that. If I want those things right now, I can get it with no problem. I got friends that got it. It's fine. But if you're living in California, it might be a different story.
So what do we do, ABL?
Leave California. I mean, I could say, I could say, you know what I'm saying, try to vote differently. And that's always a good thing, keep your values. But I mean, at a certain point, California's been long gone for a long time. I say go ahead and just bounce, go somewhere else. Just like people that leave other parts of the world and they come to America or they go to another place, it's because where they live is not giving them what they need. It should be the same thing here in the U.S. If California is not going right, well, come somewhere else. Now, you got to be able to bring the right politics when you leave, but you're not always going to have to be resigned to living in one city, one state your whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess you get what you vote for, right? It's like what some of these other people on, I don't want to say anybody's name like properly, but thanks for having my call. Very elated. Happy Halloween, and your callers are awesome.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Okay. Take care. Later.
Great call. Shout out to my man. You know, his mom said, hey, you know, we had it back in Pakistan. It wasn't no big deal. Y'all took it. What's the problem? Have you guys seen my video? You may have seen it. You may not have seen it. For those of you who have not seen this video with the Pfizer sponsor and everything, I'm going to show that one more time. And for you guys that wanted to know where this video is, it's on my Instagram page, instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan. That is ANTHONY, the letter B, LOGAN. On Instagram.
Brought to you by Pfizer. CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer. This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
That tells you everything right there. It takes all you need to know right there. Everything. Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Johnson & Johnson, same thing. Moderna, same thing. It's money. That's the bottom line. Is money. It's so obvious to see that once you have your eyes open, you can see it. If your eyes are closed, if you're still in the Matrix pod, you're not going to be able to see it. Just like when Rochelle Walensky says that the vax does not prevent transmission. If your eyes are open, if your ears are open, you're able to receive that. But if you're still sleeping, then you won't receive it. Oh, she didn't mean that. She said it on TV. Oh, she didn't mean it though. Oh, okay, whatever. But I digress. Let's go. 769 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is C now.
All righty. What's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to say it's weird how things are different wherever you are in the country. Like I'm in Mississippi. There's no racism. There's no like riots. There's no anything. You know what I mean? We're just all a bunch of poor people. There's no a bunch of illegal immigrants pouring into our state. You know what I mean? We're just a bunch of poor people. Everyone gets along.
Right.
But like everything I see on the TV, it's like, you know, everything's burning, cities are burning, and, you know, people protesting. I never see any of that stuff, man. I just see people trying to make a living, you know, and everyone getting along with their neighbors. I just think it's weird that I live in Mississippi, and you would think that would be the racism capital of the world, but it's not. I always think that's crazy when I watch TV about the rest of the country. Anyway, that's all I got, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, but see, you know what? That's a good point on Mississippi. Cause it's the same thing in West Virginia. They say West Virginia is like super racist. They got the Klan running around. You get killed going to West Virginia. West Virginia, it's nice people you ever meet in your life. Everybody's nice. Everybody smile. Everybody wave at you. It don't matter what color you are, black, white, whatever. Everybody's cool. Ain't nobody it's not this racism thing going on. It's just not there. It's a stereotype from Hollywood talking about, you know, these country places or races, backwater. It's not like that. Really, if you're talking about racism, that's more in the blue areas. You see people go out and do some of these on the street interviews. Go to, like, you may have seen that video I always reference. I think his name is Ari Shafir. Maybe that's his name. Ari Shapiro, something like that. Jewish guy. He does a lot of men on the street interviews, and he did one for Fox. And he was talking about the voter ID stuff. He went to this liberal college in California, a bunch of white folks and a few others, and asked him about voter ID. And he was asking them, is voter ID racist? And they were like, yeah, it's racist. And he's like, why? Well, because black folks, they don't understand how to go to the DMV. They don't understand how to get a driver's license. These are the real liberal, California, progressives. This is what they think. They think black folks can't use a computer, we can't use a smartphone, don't know how to access the internet. It's like we cave people, right? Like I couldn't be doing the stream right now with dual monitors, built PC, a couple different phones. I shouldn't be doing that because I don't know how to work it, right? But that's what they think. This is why the whole left keeps saying that voter ID is racist, because we don't know how to get them. It's a hurdle for us to be able to get that thing, to go out there and vote. It's not true, but they keep pushing racist ideology to cement their narrative. But when you go to New York City, because that's where he went to New York City in Harlem and was asking black folks, hey, do you have an ID? They're like, yeah. Do you know where the DMV is? Yeah. Where is it? 125th Street. Do you have your ID to vote? Is it racist? No. And they were answering the questions like he was asking something weird, which it was weird. You see, because most people don't think like that. But when you go to these really liberal places, the racism is real. It's super real. That's why I don't like being around these liberal people, because they're racist. When you go to a more conservative area, a more country area, everybody's so nice. Like coming down here to Tennessee, the main thing you get is just so everybody's so nice, warm, and cool. Now, if you got a crackhead or something like that's a whole different story. But it's a regular person, be cool. It's not all this weird stuff going on. It's just not that. You know, and truthfully, the more southern states are, like you're talking about the South, like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, we're more diverse down here than they are up north. Okay, how many black folks live in? What's the black population in California? 6%, 5%. Where I live right now is 33% black. In my city, 33% black. Okay. Do you have that really in California? Maybe like if some of the neighborhoods in LA, but not really. I'm kind of going down a long rabbit hole right now, so I digress. The whole point is that the racism does not really exist in the South as it does in the North. And racism is not an actual, a serious problem that you really got to overtake like it was back in the day during slavery and stuff like that. We've advanced the society in a real way. 678, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi. My name is Nyla.
All righty. What's going on?
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm excited to get in. First, thank you so much for your show and the things that you're saying. There's so much here. I'm a black woman, and I escaped from California, and I moved down south here. I was just listening to what you were saying about the small population in California compared to the South.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
You're live right now, correct?
I'm live right now, yes.
Okay, sorry. So, yeah, just a perspective on that. Very different here. California's very small black population, maybe just 5%. And I've watched, I was born in 1977, so I watched California literally go from a wonderful place with lots of opportunities to just homelessness all over the place, sky-high prices. Literally, we had to escape to get out of there. And I'm watching what's going on now, and I'm seeing the exact same things that happen in California happening down south where I live in Georgia. The influx of the illegals that are coming in, the prices of housing is starting to creep up very quickly. It's almost like the socialism that was there has become a cancer that's kind of spreading all over this nation, and it seems like this was done very much purposefully.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially like Atlanta, places like that, like the Atlanta metro area. It's becoming like San Francisco, DC. I compare Atlanta to DC. It's the same kind of thing, really, in my opinion. DC is more like the political people, more of that kind of crowd. Atlanta is more service-based, entrepreneur, that kind of thing. But the same kind of people that move to both places, and they come from
Yes.
these liberal areas, and then they bring that same ideology with them, and then the power structure that exists is really liberal. So it kind of creates this liberal, this festering thing, and it wasn't
Very
like that
much
in years
so.
past. Yeah.
You see, I look at the map of the United States, and you see California on one end, very liberal, and you see New York on the other end. It's almost like they have us surrounded, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two of the most major, metropolitan areas, that's the core of a lot of this socialism and things that are going on, and it's like almost done strategically so it'll begin to spread out and fan out. The states around California, I watched them begin to adopt some of the same ideologies that caused the downfall of California. It's spread around, up to Washington, Oregon, all these different places, and it's coming here. And I heard another caller earlier say that in Mississippi there, I think it was, that they're not, they don't see all the racism and riots and things. You don't see it yet, but they're flooding them in there too. This is all done purposely. It was also done, we saw it happening in Europe as well. There's the influx of immigrants into these places. And if I can add something else.
Go ahead.
With vaccine, I don't mean to switch, but it's kind of still in the same line. My job right now is on the line. My company is extremely liberal, leftist company, and they're obviously mandating. I turned in an exemption, and they approved it, and they unapproved it, and they have 4 more questions. So the first time in my life, I've been with my company for 17 years, they're asking me what I believe, why I believe it. What does it have to do with, COVID, my religious exemption, all these things. But here's the thing. We're in such a tough position because I could leave my job and not work, but they've got somebody right there to replace me because they're bringing so many other people. And it's like, how do we fight this? It's like they're coming at us from all angles. Every freedom. That's my religious freedom right now. I had to give them chapter and verse of what I believe to try to get that exemption. And then at my job, if you get the vaccine, you have to wear something on your badge. Doesn't that sound awful familiar?
It sounds very familiar.
But the awful thing about this whole thing, everyone at my job, they have about 92% compliance right now. No one knows that. They don't. I work for. I'm in medical field, and so we've been taught about HIPAA forever. That's our HIPAA gone. Once I have to put on my badge that I got the vaccine or not. And if I can add this, the ones that are doing this are so smart that they knew to put the mark, the sign on the ones that did get the vaccine because they know that they complied and they won't complain about their HIPAA rights being taken. And they know this. And this, I guess, I don't know, I'm just talking. It's like, what do we do? You're a lone voice. You've got lots of subscribers, but I'm out here living outside of Atlanta. I'm black, like I said. I'm so alone here in the way I think that sometimes I question my own self and my own sanity. I'm watching the country that I love being ripped apart, and everyone around me is oblivious to it.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, I think sometimes your environment can just make you think that way, but really a lot of people that live out there think the same as you, but they can't. They're kind of the same as you, meaning they don't want to say anything. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to kind of get socially ostracized. I know guys in Atlanta, a lot of people I know, a lot of big content creators on YouTube. They feel the exact same way you do, but they don't want to really make that be very public. So I don't know. Traveling can help. Like when I was in Virginia and I went to other places, going to Tennessee, going, out west, going like Arizona, places like that, Texas, it kind of opened my eyes up to see that everything's not just about my surrounding. People think differently depending upon where you are. So I don't know. Just understand that it's not just you. But people, maybe they don't want to come out and say anything because they're afraid.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And I've gone to Trump rallies before, and so I did, here in Georgia, so I did get to be around them. But in everyday life, being how I am, black, I've had to lose everybody. I've lost my family members because I was a supporter of Trump, and I have a YouTube channel myself, and so I speak the truth. I've lost family. I've not necessarily been put out of my church, but I'm definitely not necessarily welcome back just for speaking just plain basic truth.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this right here because I say it all the time when people they tell me that. I mean, I've gone through the same thing. So again, you're not alone. I've gone through the same thing. But if you lose people, then really were they your friends? Were they really gonna be there for you? Because sometimes things get tough. Like let's say for example, people start shooting and whatnot, and you with them. Are they gonna try to help you, or are they gonna run away and just leave you there? And leave you by yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because if they can't stand with you right now through something like this, then they won't gonna stand with you when something really goes on and things really hit the fan. And if you got a church that wants to throw you away because of your political affiliation, that's not very godly, is it?
No, definitely not. But that's the thing about everything that's going on right now. It's almost like so many people are being exposed. You're seeing people in their hearts for what they really are. You know what I mean? And if anything, my heart is kind of mourning the freedoms in this country as I'm watching them go away, but you also mourn relationships. You know what I mean? I thought the church that I was involved in is great until I realized they were quite racist. It was an all-black church. They were very, down south here, they were very racist against white people, and I'm not used to that because I'm from California. So to tear this is not easy. And so, just anybody listening, man, to fight and stand for what's right in these times is difficult. But the good thing about it is, like you're just saying, you really get to see what people are really about in these times. And there's few that, physically around me online. Yes, there's a whole world of people, but the ones around me most, even if they do see what's going on, they're keeping their mouth shut. At my job, the threat of losing their job made pretty much over 90% of the employees take this. And it's like, if you look around in the office that I work, I'm the only one that didn't take the shot. And it's like there's a big sign on my back, that I'm the disobedient one. We had a meeting at work. I had to sit away from everybody because if you didn't get the vaccine, I had to be social distanced. This is happening in our country, and it's like we're just letting it happen. This is painful, very painful. I'm sorry to get so deep, but this is just such a painful thing to have to witness.
I hear you.
But on a bright note, though, and I don't want to keep you. I'm sorry. My kids go to it's a predominantly white Christian school here where I live, and I wore my Let's Go Brandon sweatshirt.
There you go.
And I did. And it was amazing. I only got a couple people, but a couple people like your sweatshirt. I got into a conversation, and I'll let you go. I'm a 44-year-old black woman. I got in a conversation with a 16-year-old young white kid that was there, and we were 100% on the same page about the love of our freedoms, the love of our country. And so that's how you bring people together, through love of country and what's right. And right now, they've got us so confused, backwards, and divided, it's sad. There was no racism between me. There was no ageism. There was nothing. Just two people that see what's happening, love this country, and are willing to fight for it. And that's what needs to happen to turn this around.
Right on. So what's your channel?
It's called Red Film Diaries. It's it's still relatively new. It's pretty small, but I do speak very hard truths there. So obviously it's very small. So now that people, it's hard to hear, some of the things I say. I speak it very clearly. But yeah, so that's all we can do. At this, war back in the day was with weapons. It's not anymore. You know what I mean? In my mind, I feel like we're at war right now. This doesn't look like how it did, during World War I and World War II. It's different now. But we're most definitely at war.
Right on. So that was, I read some diaries on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry. The color red, femme, like female, F-E-M-M-E. I'm a woman. And diaries, like, this diary, like keep diaries, Red Film Diaries. I have two boys. And so these diaries are a letter to them. Because essentially, when I'm not here, they're going to be the ones left, like the 16-year-old boy I met, and my sons and other youth are going to be the last ones left here to fight this. I try to get my sons to remember freedom as much as we can. So we didn't really follow the mask, only when we had to. So I want them to remember, and so I give them these diaries to kind of my words on my channel to explain the truth to them, because they're not going to be able to get it as they get older. It's going to be harder and harder. So I do it for them and for anyone that wants to listen.
Right on.
If you can stomach it.
Right on. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Sorry, I was a little bit confused. You got me on so quick, I got confused. So thank you so much for even letting me be here. Thank you, sir. And thank you for everything that you do. You're amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
All right. So shout out to the caller. That was Red Femme Diaries. Femme like female diaries. RED Femme Diaries. I got time for one or two more. Let's get to them right here. And thank you for being here yet again. Definitely appreciate you guys. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. Alrighty, online. Who am I speaking to? 757.
Hey, Kilroy. How are you, ABL?
I'm well. About yourself?
Doing great. A little nervous about Tuesday, so I'm hoping all of your listeners that are the praying kind will pray for the great state of Virginia.
Absolutely. We need it.
Now, I got to tell you, I'm not a youngster, been here quite a while, born and raised. I was dumbfounded when I first saw that first commercial or news report, I forget which, with Stacey Abrams up there next to the Democrat. What does Stacey Abrams have to do with Virginia?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. But I will tell you, for the first time in my life, I received a mail-in ballot, unrequested, through the mail. Now, and they also changed us back to a ward system, which I have to confess I don't fully understand. Before it was different, but I remember my parents arguing over how the ward system in the past was just horrible. And then they changed it. And so you were just in certain districts. And now they've changed us back to a ward system. So I'm just a little bit nervous. The other thing I wanted to mention was the current president. There was a news clip, some kind of to do at the White House last week. And he walks in, he's got his little folder, under his arm. And he gets up to the podium, people, moving all around him in the front and the back, like the shindig hadn't really started yet. So he gets up behind the podium and he's just looking lost. He just looked completely lost. And then from the left of the screen, his wife comes out, the first lady, and she walks up and she puts her hand sort of in front of his line of vision where he was looking down at the podium. And she says, "Look at me," and she backs away. Well, he turned and looked behind him, and all it reminded me of was when one of the 5 kids, were toddlers, and you have to constantly redirect. It's just horrible.
It really is. He's clearly going through some mental challenges, and anybody can see it, but people just want to act like it's not happening and deny it and turn the eye because they want him in there. And it's pretty cruel, actually. But hey, that's what they do.
I agree. I think it is cruel. It's elder abuse. And, I have to comment on the previous caller. God love this woman. I know she's got to be really feeling a lot of hurt. I've been told twice in my local grocery store parking lot by men that I never laid eyes on before that I should die because I'm white. That Virginia has way too many white people. Old white people is what they said. And I just want to send love to your previous caller, all of my black brothers and sisters, all of my brothers and sisters of any race, because, this stuff just has to stop. And, like I said, anybody that's of a praying mind, I truly, honestly welcome prayers for Virginia. Tuesday is going to be it. And, when you see Abrams show up, you can't help but get a little nervous. I'm sure you understand.
Yeah.
Election night, I will never, ever forget Joe Biden standing up on the stage, where he had his drive-in rallies.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks off to his right, and where, Stacey Abrams must have been standing off stage. And he calls her by name and he thanks her for everything she did. And then he comments, with you on my side, we could rule the world.
Mm.
I hope I'm saying a lot without saying a lot.
No, I hear you.
Okay. Listen, great show, as always. I love you. Stay safe and keep the wheels turning.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. But I think that might be it. Now I got time for one more. One more. Then that'll be a wrap for me. All right. Let's try this here. Hold on 1 second. Y'all just hang tight. Let me get one more. 818, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yes, hi. This is probably my fourth time calling in, and I also wanted to sit there and say that you have a great show. And I've noticed that there are... Hello?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I noticed some of your callers, which are all awesome, all of them, they talked about elections and, like elections that happened and whatnot. And you see, what I do for a living, I work in tech. And I follow, certain cybersecurity circles, and, I play around in cybersecurity. But my main job is just in general in tech, networking, server administration, all that stuff. And one of the things I found funny is that a lot of people did not really pay attention to the Maricopa County audit results. Everybody was talking about the audit, but nobody paid attention to the actual results after it was done. And but I watched the entire thing from beginning to end, and I found a lot of things that was very telling. I tried to bring this up with other people in cybersecurity. A lot of them poo-pooed it off, which was kind of really odd and funny. I know a lot of them are very liberal. But some of the things I'd like to say is like, you understand what like port security is?
I don't know.
So again, don't take my word for it, and anybody who's listening doesn't have to take my word for it. But I'm going to say a couple things here. You can even write it down and Google it for yourself and everything else. But usually by default on a computer or a computer system, there's usually 8 ports open by default. What that means is that it is your firewall. Okay. These ports are usually like port 20, 22, 25, 53, 80, 110, 443. Now, if I say 443, that's usually HTTPS protocol. So if you go to a website, it uses HTTPS, and that is a port that's open. Now, the more ports you open, the more holes that you put in the firewall. Now, in the Maricopa County audit, they went ahead and they found that on a system that had 59 ports open. Okay, that also included Telnet and remote desktop protocols. Usually, if you have a closed system, these things are off. And then the other thing I'd like to go ahead and point out is that if you're going through a cybersecurity route, and they said that these were easily hackable. Now, the tools and the operating systems that you would use on this would usually be a Linux operating system called either ParaOS or Kali Linux. And then, how you would go about to go ahead and do this is that you would do like a simple Nmap scan. You do an Nmap scan. It scans the network, tells you what is the operating system that.
I may cut you off. I may cut you off here, Carla. But most people are not going to understand what you're talking about. Just not to be rude. So what you got to do for us is just kind of get to the meat and potatoes of it, so we can understand a little bit better. Because a lot of people don't know like a lot of the tech terms you're using.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to go ahead and explain it, because I know a lot of people, when they look at it, they're not going to actually understand anything that's there. And so that's the reason why I'm trying to tell you, like the tools would use like an Nmap. so that scans the network and sees what's open. Once you figure out what's open, then you can go ahead and do something called a payload, and you can use these programs. And that's a program. Another one you can use is Metasploit. Metasploit's another program. And what that does is that pushes a payload to a system, and so that way you can get remote access, even if it is fortified with a password or anything else. You can get hashes, and basically what I'm saying is, even in the Maricopa County audit, they said even with the Kitty script that it was easily you're easily able to hack it. And the reason why I'm saying some of these ports and stuff like that, and if somebody doesn't know what it is, they can easily do a Google search like on what Metasploit is.
So, but here's a question though, because we got time constraints. Now the question is, was it hacked?
I'm sorry?
Was it hacked? What was there hacking that happened?
Oh no, they didn't say that happened because the logs.
So basically, just again for time. So basically, it was vulnerable to hacking.
Absolutely, 100%.
Gotcha. So I mean, now what can be taken away from that? Since it was vulnerable to hacking, it was kind of open to anybody that could just throw a little script at it, hack into it. What comes after that? What's the next thing that we can take from that?
So the thing that we can take from that is having people acknowledge the usability of this. That, like, one of the things that made it hackable is the fact that they said that the software hasn't been updated in over a year. And so because of that, you have something called a CVE. A CVE is actually a database of.
I'm sorry, caller. I'm sorry, but we got time. I need you to kind of speed it up. I'm sorry because I'm at the end of my show, so we got to kind of get to the end.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that I think it's important to go ahead and just try to understand how easily these systems actually are hackable, no matter what it is that you do. And a lot of people seem to think that there are just fortified systems, but anything that has a network is extremely vulnerable. I don't care which system it is.
Gotcha. Right on, man. Well, thank you for your call, man. I'm sorry for the time constraint, but thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
No, I'm sorry. I wish I could explain better, but thank you. You have an amazing show. I wish you the best.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. All righty. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, honestly, what he was saying is like basically it was vulnerable. A lot of these terms, people are not really going to understand if they're not really involved in that world like that. But I got it. It's just, it was vulnerable. Anybody could throw a little script at it, and then just broke it open. But the question that we all have to answer is, was it hacked? Was it open and available? And I think that the next step is, let's make these things more secure. Let's have more security on it so we can tighten everything up. And that should be on the state by state level. Yes. All right. But that'll be a wrap for me. Thank you for being here yet again. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internets. I appreciate you. If you enjoyed what you heard tonight, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. I'll be back live again on Wednesday of next week. And I think Saturday of next week on my channel. I think Tatum might be gone next week, but we'll see if we're going to do a live show on his channel. But I will definitely be here on Wednesday doing my show. If you enjoy Halloween, be safe. Don't get involved in nothing crazy. Don't drink and drive because you're going to go to the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks, and you don't want that to happen. So be safe on Halloween if you are out there doing whatever you're doing. I got super chats on deck, and then I wrap it on up, put the bow clean on the top. And let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. I know a lot of you guys understood what was going on. A lot of you guys are involved in the tech world. So you guys just like, speaking 1 + 1 is 2, but a lot of people don't really get it. So let me go ahead and get to super chats here and wrap it on up. Let's see. Let's go back. Okay. The Real Hydro PX says, if I never want to hire black people with that, would you think that's racist? I guess it is because of my prejudice. I'm worried they could call me racist. I mean, that's your prerogative. But see, if you put that out there in the public, people find out, they may want to boycott you over that. Now you got to be ready to deal with it. So that's on you to deal with whatever kind of consequence comes your direction for hiring based on race. But that's on you. That's what you want to do. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to say you're racist. That's just your choice. Thank you to Matthew, who says the Canadian caller was talking about comedian Michael Ward. He mocked goat and cows of the media saying the boy was famous and given opportunity to sing for the Pope only because he was disabled. And that was a guy that had went to the not Gulag, that's what I want to say. He went to the went to the tribunal, and for like 10 years he was fighting this case in the court. They were trying to find him like $85,000 or something crazy, but he had to fight for like 10 years to get cleared of that. You know, basically a freedom of speech case. Is there freedom of speech? I can't tell. Shout out to Tom Mueller, who says, I wonder if I denounce my U.S. citizenship and then snuck back over the border from Mexico, do I get $500,000? If so, that's the move. Yeah, that's the wave right there. Let me go across the border, say, you know what? I'm not an American no more. I've been delivered, and let me get my $450,000. Real easy. Big bag. Thank you to Matthew, who says, the Canadian caller also said, an idiot is running our country. That would be our dear leader, Comrade Blackface Justin Trudeau, the prime feminist of Canada. Thank you to Daniel Orr for being a 6-month member of the channel. And thank you to right there, my man David Dahmer, who said, thanks again for taking my call. No problem. It's all good. Thank you for calling in. Bob versus Windshield says, if not the border that keeps me up at night, nor the LGBT issues, not even the shipping crisis, it's knowing at some point Kamala Harris will be president. Kamala Harris. Thank you to the Real Hydro, who says, why is it that blacks who have been here, I'm not gonna read that one. Don't get racist. Thank you to Isaiah Alexis, who says, do you think you can sue any vaccination company if spouse get vaccinated and gives it to you? Nah, you can't sue any vaccination company as far as I know, because there's a clause that you can't sue, which you should be able to sue, but I think you can't. Thank you to Tom, who says, does a group of 4 white males singing Baby Love equate to white supremacy? Don Lemon says it does. I think he is out of lemons for his lemon. Thank you to Yogi Fish, who says, respect ABL. Thank you for that. Appreciate you, boss. Thank you to Moose Codes, who says, for the Chicago police officer that called in, fire talk. Thank you to Gimli, son of Glowin, who says, love your show, ABL. I'm also retiring early from CPD, 41 years old, 14 years in the job. I'll get a check for $80,000 and a retirement start to walk away. I've made peace with my decision. No jack for me. Hey, man, I feel you guys. I understand how hard it is, because when I was trying to be a firefighter back a few years ago, I thought about retirement. My whole plan was, okay, I'll be a firefighter. I'll retire in my 50s. I'll get a pension like my dad had, and that'll be my story. So I understand the plan you had before you got in. You're going to work hard, serve your community, retire, and do that. But then it's like, what do I do now when I'm being forced to get a vaccine that I don't want to get, and you're ruining my whole plans? 14 years in the job, I understand, man. So hopefully this whole thing gets resolved, but we'll see what happens. Thank you to Ohio Gaming for the donation. Thank you to Stephanie Fisher, who says, someone said today, quote, I remember a time when people waited until they were dead before donating their body to science, unquote. Ain't it the truth? Thank you, ABL. Very good quote. Makes sense. Thank you to the anti-view, who says, gives new meaning to holy crap. Talking about Joe Biden doodling on himself at the Vatican, allegedly. Thank you to Ron Henderson, who says, as Biden would say, crap happens. I just couldn't help myself. The Real Hydrip says, the nature of women calling anything you do your little thing. Thank you to Ohio Gaming again for your donation. Thank you to Scott Rogers, who says, one morning as a kid, I got up and I saw a white wolf across our dining room and go downstairs. Didn't mention it until 5 years ago to find out my dad had seen it too, but didn't want to scare us. Wow. So you saw like a ghost of a wolf? That's crazy. You saw it, your dad saw it, but you didn't say anything. Very interesting. Thank you to the anti-view, who says, wrecked him, darn near killed him. Ohio Gaming, thank you for your donation. Thank you to Ohio Gaming for becoming a member. Thank you to Buff vs. Windshield, who says, scary movies that are like today, they live, liberals can't see, quote, them and V for Vendetta, except it's liberals. Both have come true. Thank you to Ohio Gaming again for your donations, your emoji donations. F.A. Ranger Xbox says the Democrats are at war with the American people. And shout out again to my man David Diamond for your donation. All right, that'll be a wrap for me. Great stream tonight, great show tonight. As always, you guys are fantastic. I'll be back again live on Wednesday. I'll be back doing my regular videos, pre-recorded on Monday, of course. And follow me everywhere. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, my website, ABL merch, BT Designs, patriotpost.us. Follow all my links in the description box. And, of course, this will be available on your favorite audio streaming platform to listen to without having to have the video version taking up all your bandwidth. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out, and peace.